And we're on air.
Well,
Hello,
hey.
everyone. Um, Welcome back to Matt and Co. Talk Who.
All right.
So I'm Matt, and my company today is my company today is sorry, I just had to mute the thing because I need to
Oh.
see chat. I need to see chat.
Yep.
So
Been
that's
there.
yeah. So and my company is only one person, but it is a lovely person called Alex.
Oh, hello. I'm Alex. I run the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel. Thrilled to be here. Chat with another awesome Doctor Who fan. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Um, so luckily our pre-show, just our conversation beforehand, didn't delve into politics. So, because literally the first time I did this, the first person that wasn't because there I had three people on, and the first
Yeah.
person to join the call was also an American. So I asked, how's life across the pond?" And the first thing he said was like, "Well, Trump's still president, so not all good." Gotta love digs on your own country. Um, I hope you're not offended because just hope I'm is hoping that you're not a Trump supporter that would get offended by that.
Nope. Nope. I go right ahead. It's yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I would rather be in the land of Doctor Who. Um, I think
so
that would
then
be
you'd
quite
vote for
fun.
that guy in the arachnids in the UK then.
Oof, oof. Oh, that guy. No, there was some very thin allegory right there.
Oh yeah, arachnids in the
uh,
UK just it tried to be political for no reason.
mm,
Like,
it,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
it,
politics because every piece of fiction has a political message.
yeah. So, like, insofar as I was talking with some other Doctor Who fans the other day about this, insofar as politics is about talking about like really important problems and issues and how to best come up with solutions for them, that we should always be talking about that.
Yeah.
The problem is we when we enter into these like tribalistic states of like I'm going to stick with my team and not listen to anything anybody else is
Mm.
saying, and then we're just having a pointless argument. If you're going to approach a discussion where you want the other person to change their mind about something, then I think it's only fair and respectful to keep your mind open enough to also have your
Yeah.
opinion changed. Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
One thing
Luckily,
that
I
is,
feel like Series 11 seemed to have done that pretty well, apart from Rackins in the UK. Like
mm,
its politics was largely just like, here's a thing that exists.
mm,
Um, Whether that be as small as like a man giving birth, which you could say that's sort of an allegory in a way. There's a bigger
mm-hmm,
allegory in that with like, single dads and all that. But
mm-hmm,
still, small allegory, man giving birth. And or a big allegory like with Rosa. Like,
mm.
what did you think of Rosa? Like as an American, it's your history, as opposed to our history. So, what did you think
Yeah,
of Rosa?
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, we all know the tale, and it was great to see Doctor Who take on a moment like that, a moment as powerful, and to pull it off so well. I
yeah,
just remember being so blown away by that the use of that particular song and just
yeah,
that powerful moment of like them having to be there to witness that, and
yeah.
just
Not
that.
necessarily having to be there to witness that, having to actually be the cause of it.
Right. Um,
That's even more gut punching.
there was that brilliant like you know juxtaposition between like, oh my gosh, we have to be there, and we
But
really don't want to be there.
yeah,
um, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. it was very powerful, and I liked it. I also really loved Demons of the Punjab.
Oh yeah, that was fairly interesting. Although it's neither of our histories. My brother-in-law, he's
Mm.
Indian.
Mm.
Obviously, like he wasn't alive during that time, but
Mm.
still, it's yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
it is fairly interesting. I mean, Demons of the Punjab. All I do have slightly more issues with that than Rosa, which is weird because like Demons of the Punjab, I feel like structurally made more sense, I guess. If that makes I don't know how to
Mm.
explain it, but it's like everything fit whilst with
Yeah.
Rosa, like it didn't 100%.
Right. They sort of had to insert an alien bad guy plot into Rosa,
Yeah, to
whereas
make it work. Was
Demons of the Punjab was just you're in history, and this is what's happening. Try
yeah,
not to get swept away with it.
yeah, that's sort of what I mean. Um,
Mm.
I mean, I do feel like, I mean, with Rosa, it felt like you you would want it to be a pure historical more than you would want Demons of the Punjab to be a pure historical, if that makes sense. Because Rosa
Mm.
feels like you want it to be solely focused on that. But the reason why I'm fine with that not being a pure historical is because how would it work without Krasko? One of the
Mm.
few villains I've actually bothered to remember the name of.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Um, like,
Right. It's
yeah.
like how would
I've forgotten the Kablam person completely, but I remember Krasko. I just remember all the historical ones because I had to sort of make a video on it, you know.
yeah, those are, it's cool to see, um, you know, them go back to Doctor Who's roots in that sense. You go back to uh, the very first season and you see historicals.
Mm.
And whether they're pure historicals or not, I think it's really cool to just see it be a
Yeah,
story even set in the past, because there is so much that we can learn from these
yeah,
different moments in past, and those who forget about history are doomed to repeat it. So
yeah.
um, you know,
I'm
it,
I do you watch Stu Bagfull quite a bit?
no, no, to my shame, I don't.
His
But
Series 11 reviews have just watching them has made me sad because I'm watching a fan who deeply is invested in this franchise slowly lose investment. But I
mm,
feel like it's not because of what Chris Chibnall has done, but like what it's it's like what he's not done, if that makes sense. Because
mm,
although Moffat did things that he very disagreed with, at least these things were interesting to talk about. Well, Series
mm,
11, in his opinion, was just nothingness. But Demons of the Punjab was like his favorite one. Um,
mm,
I don't know if he preferred Resolution or not. I think he preferred Demons of the Punjab, but Resolution was like the closest he got to actually being invested. So he watched Series 12.
mm.
He will. Um, he's just not bothered at the moment, which
Yeah.
fair enough. But anyway, the point is, Demons of the Punjab, in that review, he made a comment saying that that episode was like the definition of a gut punch.
Mm,
Because that episode was, it was painful to watch, but you know what kind of pain I mean. Like, not like
right.
it's painful to bury yourself through, because it's a
Mm,
drama. So,
right.
and it's a well written drama. It's just painful to see like these people torn apart, and it's painful to realize this is what actually happened. And it
Mm,
makes you really think about history in a way that, is
mm,
is you get really disturbed. And then he said that actually for that segment he was going to write a synopsis for taking this idea to the extreme by writing a synopsis for a story set in a concentration camp.
oof.
because I mean, he was taking it to a logical extreme. You know,
Mm.
it's what Stu Bagwell does, and it's not any way offensive because he said he was going to do that, but then he got too. Even trying to write a synopsis about that was too much.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that idea of like one of the unique things about a time travel show is you can take a story, whether it be an episode set on the Titanic, or in Demons of the Punjab, and you take a story that has a sad or bad ending, and you can. I like the drama and just raw emotion that comes out of like going a little bit earlier and having to witness that event, whether it be the fires of Pompeii or.
Yeah.
Uh, I think that's really cool. And Doctor Who has gone back and forth between whether or not you can go back in time and change history. Like a lot of the times, if a story is set in the past, it's like, oh, well, we got to stop this alien from ruining history. And then other
Fires Pompeii
times,
is an example as well.
right.
Wow.
And then other times it's like there are, there are fixed points in time. And very much with the Hartnell episodes, it was like, you can't do this. Believe me, I've tried. Time is just going to go the way it's going to go, and we could be swept along with it. But
Yeah.
then you also get the time meddler, and all of a sudden there
Yeah.
are moments where it's like, is it easy or is it hard to mess with time? But either way, I think you can get good drama out of it.
I would say, depending on the event, it's easier to change it, and also depending on the event, it really, you know, if something, it could cause catastrophic events because changing history so that a few people survived Pompeii, that wasn't going to change anything catastrophic. It wasn't going to be so bad. The Doctor got a new face eventually that looked like one of them. That's the only change that happened, really. Also, there's like marble carving worshipping David Tennant. I'm sure there's a real version of that somewhere that some fan has made. No, knowing fans of David Tennant, they'd probably do that.
Oh yeah.
I'm not calling all David Tennant fans insane. I'm just saying
No,
someone has done that.
no.
I'm not saying everyone has done that.
I was
Someone
gonna
probably has.
I was gonna say I'm a David Tennant fan, but
Yeah.
I might not be the best example of somebody who's completely sane either. So
You're a Doctor Who fan. I'll let you off because we all are. But yeah, I mean, other times such as like, I would say my favorite example of time messing up because of a change in history is the Charlie arc in Big Finish. The Eighth Doctor
oh
Charlie arc,
boy.
not the Sixth Doctor one. That's a different arc. It's a very different arc. But
Mm.
like, storm warning, the Doctor's like, I'll save you. Oh, okay. I don't think I was meant to save you. Everything will be fine.
Yes.
Cut to Chimes of Midnight, and you're like, oh, nothing's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Chimes of Midnight is actually pivotal in that arc, but it is also like standalone, and I love
Right.
it, and it's the best thing ever.
It,
It's
it's quite atmospheric, and it's a great example of uh, what I think the Big Finish audio range can do, and that I remember that story being good, even though it had been hyped up for me. Because you sort of always hear that as like spare parts and Chimes of Midnight, but
yeah.
even
With
so,
spare
I really
parts,
enjoyed it.
with spare parts, I feel like with every subsequent listen, it's worn off on me. Chimes of Midnight, every subsequent listen, it just gets better. Like, you hear about how good Chimes of Midnight is. You're not spoiled about it. No one spoils about it. I mean, I spoiled about it in my review, but that's because that's how I review things. I go through the whole story, speak about it. I'm getting better at reviews. I'm getting my firm grip on the style, but anyway,
That's cool.
beside the point. But still, Chimes of Midnight, just, if I were to put it in a category of story, like, it does actually fit in with a proper category, and I would call it the Ghostlight category, if that makes sense. Because like you get these really weird stories, and usually with expanded media, they are very reminiscent of Ghostlight. Specifically, Ghostlight, like Chimes Midnight, reminiscent of Ghostlight. Like the final episode of the Seventh Doctor Chris and Ross box set is very reminiscent of Ghostlight as well. Night Thoughts. Why does the Seventh Doctor always have Ghostlight clones? Like, it's weird. Like the Doc. Also, isn't Long Barrow sort of a Ghostlight clone?
Probably.
Like, because they were originally going to make Long Barrow instead of Ghostlight, but then thought it makes more sense to make the season about Ace.
Right.
Yeah.
Ghostlight and Curse of Fenric, as well as Survival. Those are like the last 3 stories that I need to rewatch, because I've been going through the Seventh Doctor with my brother and a couple of our friends, and we just sort of kept gravitating to it. And it was amazing how much we enjoyed it, because I like that even a story doesn't have to be like Genesis of the Daleks or the Chimes of Midnight in order for you to enjoy it. It can even be considered in general bad, but you can still enjoy it. So like Paradise Towers and the Happiness Patrol in particular, like we still reference those stories, and oh, hail the great architect. I mean, it's I really enjoyed watching those episodes
the other day, actually. Sorry for completely interrupting.
They're very strange and non sequitur, but I really did enjoy them. So I'm looking forward to giving Ghostlight another try, because I honestly didn't follow it the first or second time I watched it, and I want to make a concerted effort to try and parse out the plot this time round.
Last time I watched Ghostlight, it was the last time Doctor Who was broadcasting on Twitch, and I missed some of it. Oddly enough, I understood what was going on better somehow. I don't know how.
Maybe that's the secret.
Just don't watch Ghostlight and you'll understand Ghostlight. Like, but like the best part about marathoning the Sylvester McCoy era is that you save the best to last, and it gets better and better. Apart from Dragonfire, Dragonfire is a dip, but that's the only proper dip. I mean, sure, I would rank like stuff like Remembrance of the Daleks above the rest of them, to be honest, but still, it's like Happiness Patrol's still good. Silver Nemesis is still good. Just all of season 25 and season 26 are good.
Battlefield for me comes out. It's just so much of a fun story for me.
Yeah.
I love those Arthurian Knights and the way that the story ends, and the characters that it brings back. And it's just like, it's one of those stories that like you want to, at the end of the story, when there's not any mortal terror or danger left, you just want to hang out with the characters afterwards, and you get sort of a further glimpse. It's not just let's dive back into the TARDIS and immediately come upon some more danger. It's like, we are going to hang out and maybe have food after this, and you're like, oh, I really want to know what happens after that. Like, what would a normal evening be like with the Doctor and those friends? Yeah,
Bambara specifically. I want to see. I want to see. I don't know what I want to see. I just want to see like. I just want to see her, and I just want to see more of her, to be honest. I guess I've always got Red Dwarf Series 2, like the final episode of that, because Angela Bruce is in that. So, yeah.
You mentioned a series that just keep on getting better and better. For me, that was the Eighth Doctor Adventures. Like, I think they were pretty good.
Lucy Miller ones.
Right. To me, I think they're a great entrance into Big Finish, because
I would totally recommend that.
it's like a perfect cross between the best of the classic and the best of the new series.
Yeah.
And for me, each series, like, you know, it got better and better. It seemed like maybe series 1, series 2, there might be a couple not brilliant episodes in there, but series 3 I've really enjoyed a lot of. The
I think
Cannibalists.
series three was very consistent. I'd have to say that, but I would say on the whole, I prefer series two because the series two stories that I like, and that's most of the series, I prefer to actually all of series three, apart from We're in Dawn. We're in Dawn specifically, I do like.
That for me is like how you take a story as incredible as the Ark in Space, and then you're brave enough to attempt to do something of a sequel, not really a sequel, but you get what I mean. And it
Hmm.
to me it came out doing really really well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like you start to. It's like the thing is about We're in Dawn. I would say it is to Eighth Doctor and Lucy Miller series three, as Chimes Midnight was the early uh Eighth Doctor and Charlie stuff, which is a bold thing to say, but think about it. It's the best one to start with, and it also takes what the series is going for and turns it up to 11, if that makes sense. Because Eighth Doctor and Charlie, it goes with the whole Charlie's supposed to be dead. What happens? Turns that up to 11. Turns that to the logical extreme. Actually, possibly beyond the logical extreme. And We're in Dawn takes the Doctor not necessarily. It's like I don't want to say it dehumanizes the Eighth Doctor, but you know what I mean. He
and
has a less the human element of the Doctor. His like human like compassion is a bit diminished
it's always a
because
great
for this.
interaction between
Yeah.
companion and Doctor when the Doctor is the one who takes a step back from saving people, and the companion just wants to keep going with what they would normally do, and
Yeah.
you can't do that all the time, because otherwise you
And
don't end up liking, in my opinion.
sometimes you shouldn't do it. Like Kill the Moon just did not work.
Yeah, yep, yep.
It's like I like what it was going for, but it actually no, I like some of what it was going for. And one scene was well done. Everything else, seriously, that doesn't even pass for a first draft. That just passes for attempting to make something as bad as possible.
If there is a series that I need to watch with somebody who really loves it to help me appreciate it more, it would be Series 8. A lot of people think, like, they would prefer Series 8 to Series 9, or maybe that's just my perception, but I much prefer Series 9 to Series 8. Um, I I didn't really like the story arc of Am I a Good Man? Like, I like it to an extent, maybe for the first episode when he's regenerating, and then he has a triumphant, you know what, I am a good man, and I'm the Doctor, and I'm ready to go explore the universe. Like, I'm good with that. But for me, the answer is just so obvious. Like, yes, you are. Figure it out. Let's move on. That I didn't really end up enjoying the Danny Pink arc. Like, I like Danny Pink as a character, but I didn't like that he was always making the Doctor seem like this super dark soldier. I think that would have worked a lot better with like the Ninth Doctor when you're coming out of the Time War and the guilt of the Time War. But we had gone through that whole.
Get Pete Walsh. Get Pete Walsh. Just anyway, continue, Alex.
I think if you look at the Doctor's character throughout the Time War arc, it's like starting with the Ninth Doctor, like I have guilt over what I've done in the Time War, and that goes down, leading up to the end of the 11th Doctor era, where we find out what happened on the last day of the Time War, and then after that, there shouldn't really be any of this "Am I a good man?" guilt still left over. Like, I think that was answered.
I think with the whole "I am a good man," I think it could have worked, but only because the 12th Doctor, well, Series 8 12th Doctor conceptually works as a more, he's very different from the other New Who Doctors, and
right.
well, that's what they were going for, and then Series 9 happened and ruined that. But the point is, like, Series 8, he was just much more it was sort of like the Sixth Doctor in a way, like combination of the Sixth and First Doctor. Like,
let's get into my conspiracy theory here about
time repeating itself.
So Ninth Doctor, you have a new Doctor that
facing the Auton specifically
starts a new era of Doctor Who that obviously matches up with the Third Doctor. Yeah. He also ends his time with a companion that would go on to be with the next Doctor,
who was the most popular one,
who becomes the most sort of mainstream popular, really has a powerful acting presence, and is it's not like in general a happier Doctor, but like can be goofy at times and also like incredibly serious and command a room. And then that you move on to the next youngest Doctor, setting a new record. And that Doctor, the last companion of that Doctor, continues on with the next Doctor, and in order to differentiate from that younger, nicer archetype, you go for an actor who all of a sudden has a different "I'm not the Doctor you really used to know."
And then
that archetype. So
hiatus that happens. Well, it wasn't 18 months. It, like, 2016 was 1985, 1986 essentially.
Right. It wasn't as bad, but now it just seems to be the new thing that we get a season every other year. I mean, I've done a whole video on that. I love spreadsheets.
Also, there was a Doctor in Distress song released in both breaks. By Who fans.
Okay, that's where you
yeah, that's when things start to. People have been noticing this for a while, and I feel like Series 11, in a way, is season 24. Except it starts out stronger.
You're hoping that with the, having a change, as a change from Colin Baker to Sylvester McCoy was nowhere near as radical as Peter Capaldi to Jodie Whittaker.
But still,
at least for our day and age, like that perhaps it shouldn't have been, perhaps it shouldn't have, we shouldn't have reacted so strongly to that in an ideal world, but it was a huge change. So I'm hoping that that's enough to sort of break the mold. And obviously I don't believe there's some sort of curse that we have to live through this cycle, because after all, in the new Doctor Who, we didn't get our beloved first and second Doctor archetypes repeated. So it's not a solid theory, but it is these interesting correlations, if you will, that to me just point to we need to continue to support this, because we've seen, if you don't like a current showrunner, wait out 4 years. If you don't like a current Doctor, wait out 3 seasons. I'm really hoping that, as with the Seventh Doctor, and your opinion of the Seventh Doctor era, that the 13th Doctor era will just get better and better and better.
But unfortunately, although the quality will rise, the viewing figures may fall, and then the show may get cancelled. That's the bad part about this theory. We're getting
not if we have anything to do with it. we have the power of social media to unite support, which they didn't have back then. So
yeah, but I feel like season 24 and series 11. Yeah, season 24 and series 11. They've both. Okay, at least with season 24, no, series 11 was not. I wouldn't say it was tonally inconsistent, I'd say some episodes were more jovial, some episodes were more serious, but overall, it still felt reasonable within the context of each episode, especially. Whilst with season 24, you've got literal cannibals about to eat the companion, while at the same time, just, like, actually no, the thing that sums up season 24 is the cleaning robot from Paradise Towers, because it's a bombastic thing. It's a goofy looking thing with its own theme tune. It's got its own theme tune, and it's got a nice jovial theme tune, but it's got a leg sticking out of it, like a human leg. That's tonal contrast, and not good tonal contrast.
And then the moments when it's like, oh, I've just seen my roommate get pulled into the food disposal. I'm going to stand in front of this food disposal and scream as I get pulled in. It's just,
it's like, okay, season 24 is laughably bad. It's got a good points. Like Delta and the Bandman, I think is good.
We were talking about Paradise Towers in particular, though, because we're like, they must have been intentionally doing something that was bad. Like, there are certain things that, like, as you're producing it, if you've ever produced content, like, the grass always looks greener when you're filming it yourself and it's your own production. And then maybe you can take a step back from it and you say, okay, yeah, we didn't really get everything perfect. But Paradise Towers is one of those things where it's like they had to have known that, like, okay, we are doing something comical.
Like pantomime.
Right. There was just too much intentional comedy in it that I think, or intentional surrealism that, like, we really enjoyed it. Like,
I like surrealist Doctor Who, and I feel like Paradise Towers, the world building in that story, I actually really loved. But what I didn't like was the everything else. Like, the characters were annoying, and mainly the Kangs. The Kangs were really annoying. Specifically. And also just the plot.
I am Pex.
Pex, more like Jean-Luc Carey. Seriously, I think they look alike a lot.
Oh, wow.
Can you see it?
I haven't seen a side-by-side comparison, but
just they do look somewhat similar, and I know Jean is watching. just flat out just said no.
You can redeem the character. One person did comment on my video, like, please remake all of Paradise Towers. Like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
I do want to see, like, a stage production of Paradise Towers, because it's actually one of those stories that I feel like would genuinely work.
I would love to see a musical of Paradise Towers.
That could work too.
It's like, sign me up. Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
Like, you don't. My issue with, like, Seventh Doctor expanded media is that you don't get stories like that often.
The Greatest Show in the Galaxy was sort of like that for me, and you get introduced to these characters, and at first you're like, they make no sense, but there really is this dark backstory to these characters.
It's like season 24 done the other way round, I think, if that makes sense. I don't know. It feels like, I mean, although they arrange it the same way, it feels like they've done it the other way around. Like, they've made the story serious, but with comedic elements, even though the comedic elements are the same elements, like the world building. But the serious elements are the plot, but instead of something like Paradise Towers, where the serious elements were not the plot, but the plot was comedy.
Mm.
You know, so it's like Greatest Show in the Galaxy is what season 24 should have been.
Hmm. See, when you added that element of surrealism, there's always that question of, are you going to explain it, or are you going to leave it up to people to try and figure out themselves?
And this
And
is how Ghostlight came to be.
right, I
Yeah.
prefer it when you get at least enough payoff that you don't feel as though you've been watching like pointlessness for the duration of the story.
Mm.
Um, so I think that's why I prefer, like, I really enjoy the surrealist stories in Doctor Who, whereas some other surrealist television I don't enjoy as much. Um,
I feel like the only stories that could get away with not doing that are the Divergent Universe Big Finish stories. Because those stories, you're not meant to get an explanation because you can't explain it because it's in a different universe.
hmm.
Sure, so
Yep.
specifically,
Hmm.
like, uh, thinking about 51 to 100s is weird because like half of them are out of print.
Yeah.
Like seeing the latest clearance sale was like Thanos snap. Like it genuinely was. Like
Well,
some of
as
them were
long
already out of print, but like Churzo, that was the first 51 to 100 to go out of print,
mhm.
which wasn't a surprise. But
I have a funny story about 51 to 100, which was when they first announced that they were going to be halting like production of the CDs and just letting
yeah,
them peter out as people bought them up. Um, I saw that sale, and I think there might have been like the initial weekend sale
yeah,
for the CDs, um, but I didn't realize that the downloads, which I normally collect, were just being permanently reduced to like uh, $2.99 per
yeah.
download, and so I like dug deep in my wallet and probably had to, earn
Invent
back
money.
some, pay my parents back, and work a little bit more. And in
Mm.
that entire weekend, I bought like the downloads of all 50 of those audios because I thought that was the only weekend that they would be
Yeah,
reduced.
don't worry,
And
permanently reduced, which is
right.
genuinely a steal. Like
Oh my
honestly,
gosh.
I
Yes.
would, yeah, definitely. Like
And it,
two
it
ninety
makes me
nine.
feel conflicted because I feel bad for the CD collectors
Yeah,
that, like, obviously these are going out of print and it's really frustrating. But as a download collector, I'm really just waiting for the 101 to 150 to go on sale, which it actually recently did, and I had no money, which so is
yeah.
there's
I
always the sale you
mean,
want when you have no
the clearance sales, you can only purchase the CDs. You get the downloads in your account, of course, but
yeah,
I don't think you could have made use of it.
some of them you can get the downloads for like a cheaper price than normal, but lately you haven't been able to. Oh, can I tell you something about Big Finish that I found out today, in
Is it
regards
the
to
American prices changing?
right? I know I will get no sympathy from people who aren't also American because what Big Finish is doing is the fair thing,
Yeah,
um, but it's just the way that they're going about fixing their mistake. I wish they had taken it a little bit more gradually. Basically, what happened is they. I don't know if it was how long ago they decided to do this, but it's been this way for years, and it might have always been this way with the
mm,
downloads. They decided to do a one-to-one conversion, which is if it costs £10 in the UK, it'll cost $10 in the
yeah,
US.
yeah,
That meant that for the longest time, people in us fans in the U.S. were getting about a 30% off um, conversion rate. Obviously, the UK pound has gone up and down over the years,
yeah,
um, and
but
now they're resetting to what everybody else would assume they would have done from the start, which is let's just go with the current transfer, like the currency transfer, where £1 is equal to $1.32. And
yeah,
so that and they posted that note saying like, you have until April 1st to get these at the reduced price. So essentially, for U.S. fans, we're getting a 30% price increase, and like
which is
9 or
fair.
10 days in which to do that. Which it's getting it back to a fair thing, but also
It's annoying.
it's making the fans suffer for a mistake that the Big Finish made. Like,
I
I
wouldn't
would
exactly
rather them
say
have
it's
gone a
suffering,
little bit.
but
I
like
would rather them have gone a bit more gradual, like said, over the course of the next 2 or 3 months, we'll be slowly increasing the price. So, like, instead of just saying like in 9 days you're going to have a 30% increase, because I don't think that's going to be the smartest business decision.
I feel like
Essentially
they should have announced it
telling
like a month in advance instead of
right. It's
9
like,
days.
why with like 2 weeks to go are you telling us this now? Like,
Yeah, like doing
but
it
I
all in a
totally get that
runner,
it's
I get, but like announcing it like a week before, I don't know.
right. And it's like, just from a business point of view, it's like, you're gonna just hike the price up 30%. I would have rather had them do it the other way, like bring the UK price down to what the US price was, or whatever their second largest market
But
was.
they're a
But
business, so they want to make them more money.
yes,
But
but
they're at least considerate, so they're not like making you pay full price for the download for the 150s even, like what they were
oh yeah,
back when they were full price, which my Big Finish
right.
collection, I would have listened to a lot less Big Finish if that was the case.
So I think, though, like, I mean, obviously, I get that it's the fair thing to do. It's the way it should have been from the beginning. So I'm just like, just because imagine if you had been getting a 30% discount on Big Finish, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, that's gone." You'd be sad to lose out on that coupon that you thought you had forever.
Called
But
being American.
I think that it's yes, one of the few times being American is an advantage with being a Doctor Who fan. You guys get Big Finish Day, but
Yeah,
um, the I think it does piece together why some people have been wondering why I prefer to collect the downloads, because in the UK it is just like £1 or £2 more to go for the CD and get the download as well. But I think
well, you
because of
say
that,
it's £1 or £2 more, but it's one or
is
two
it
pounds more than there's postage and packaging.
right? There is
So,
postage,
so it is
which
a few pound more, but that's worth it
right.
because I'm
I
addicted, admittedly.
Right, right. And so I think having that, like seeing that, oh yeah, there was a 30% discount in America, also made it. Um, I think that gap might have been a little bit wider in like what we are currently paying for. Like, I'll look at the website now to see what a Big Finish main range uh, audio costs, and maybe you can tell me what your difference is for the UK. Um, yeah, so it's $13 for the download of, say, the Chameleon Empire, and $20 for the CD. So that's $7.
$20 for the CD.
Right.
Okay, right. Just wanted to make sure I heard you right.
Yep. It's $20 for the CD. So $7 more. So it's
Um,
it's
And
two
then
thirds of the price.
don't you have like the postage to pay for that as well? Do you have
Yeah.
yeah. Which is
You
more,
would
really.
right, right.
Shipping
And so
over.
that's where I'm like, I get that. I think a slight discount for the US is fair, because you're factoring in crazy shipping costs as well. So I think 30%, what we were getting, was far too much. And they obviously weren't thinking about like, oh, let's, make it more enticing for people overseas to buy from us. Um, that wasn't their logic for the 30% um, discount, essentially. But I think a 10% discount to make it that much more enticing, just as a business decision, like, how can we convince people to buy our CDs? I think that makes sense. But
Yeah.
obviously, if I were to collect CDs, I would I would wait until some poor Big Finish fan on eBay decides that they need to sell their collection, and I would just be like, I'm here. They will
Said
have
Big
to
Finish
stay
fan is
home with
not
me.
going to be me, unfortunately, Alex.
Well, I want to let everybody know that if, and I've said this on Twitter before, and I'll say it again now, if anybody needs some semi-permanent to permanent overseas storage, I contact me. I will gladly store your Big Finish collection on a permanent to more than permanent basis.
Did you even have anywhere to put it? I mean, you're a Doctor Who fan, so probably not.
I would get rid of my bed to make room for it.
To be honest, fair enough. Who needs a bed?
Does that mean you'll give me your Big Finish collection?
No, it doesn't. But still,
I would sleep in a hammock over Big Finish CDs, just like.
I would not do that just in case the hammock broke.
Yes.
No.
Well, no. What you do is you just put the CDs of stories that you really don't like underneath your bed.
Do such things exist?
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
exactly. So just like
I mean, there are like 1,200 Big Finish audios, so there's probably some out there. Like I might. Who knows? I might get a lot of copies of Necromantia. Who knows?
A few Exiles in there as well. Oh, by the way, download over here, of course, £13 because 1-to-1.
Right.
But CD is £15. So.
Oh, so 13 versus £15 plus shipping.
Yes.
I can definitely see. I can definitely see why people would go for the CD. In the UK, I can see that argument for sure.
But more people actually go for downloads now. I'm not sure if it's like a huge American increase. I think it's just a huge younger listening increase.
I think it's a shift to downloads in general. Even though things like vinyl are like somehow managing to sell these days.
Retro appeal.
Right. But as far as the downloads are concerned, one of the things that they had said was some people were faking overseas accounts to get the cheaper price, which I don't think there were a lot of people doing that, but I can see why they would want to be stopping people from doing that.
Yeah, because that's actually unfair.
Yeah. I really hope that Big Finish will start doing an affiliate program for Doctor Who YouTubers like us who, are already promoting Big Finish audios, but could actually get slightly paid as Big Finish like freelance marketers. I don't know. I think that would be really cool.
The thing is, I don't want Big Finish to have a paid promotion with me unless if they pay me in Big Finish.
Well, they probably would.
They probably would, but like if they gave me money as well, they do know that the money's going to go back to them because I'm wanting more.
Right. So I mean, there are affiliate programs where you get like store credit essentially, and I would totally go for that.
Yeah.
One project that I want to do is take the Big Finish audios that I have and design DVD covers for each story and then put them onto my shelf in chronological order, or as close to chronological order as I could get. And I think that's my dream, but that would mean like finding either creating the artwork for 1,200 DVDs or finding somebody who would create the artwork for 1,200 DVDs. That would be my dream, for people to like look at my shelf and be like, why are there so many 8th Doctor DVDs? It would just be so unique.
Storm Warning, Sword of Orion.
Mm-hmm.
That Venice one.
I'm talking short trips as well. Like they
Short
need to.
trips as well. Individual short stories.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Alex.
Because they don't always. They don't. If you put them into a collection, they just you don't know where they go in this in the chronology.
The thing is with the short trips, the ones they've been doing since 2015, I think. 2015's when they
Yeah. Yep.
like the revived version. Those
Right.
aren't on CD.
No, no. I would be getting the downloads of all of these, burning them onto discs, printing out CD artwork as well as DVD artwork, and then finding like, well, probably purchasing a hammock so that I could fit all of the shelves around me to contain this incredible Doctor Who Big Finish and DVD collection. Like this is my dream.
Hmm.
I have a dream.
Okay, Mr. King.
A significantly less important dream.
Yeah, I know. Equal rights isn't as important as a Doctor Who collection. I agree.
No, no. Oh god. No.
I regret saying that.
Flip that around.
Yeah. So
I don't
yeah.
know how we move forward from that, but
Let's talk more Big Finish.
yeah.
Like CD collecting is a pain sometimes.
Tell me about CD collecting, because I don't get to do that.
Mostly, I get most of my stuff from the Big Finish website, and sales are a godsend when I have money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How long does shipping generally take?
Well, because I'm in Scotland, it usually takes 2 weeks, unless if I've pre-ordered something, in which case it just takes a few days.
Cool.
Now,
where is that line for you of I'm actually going to pre-order this and I'm not going to wait the 2 or 3 or 5 years for it to go on sale? Like there must be some line of like, this is the type of range that I really enjoy.
When it's a box set, I typically go for like the pre-order. Like it really actually depends what I'm wanting. Because like if I'm like, ooh, I want this, but like I'm gonna pre-order this while it's cheap. I don't know, like because Big Finish this year, like specifically this year, they've decided to go like, hey, let's make releases you like
can't refuse.
Want to buy all of them.
Big Finish has the unique problem of a business of creating more products than their audience can afford to buy. It's not a question of will people buy this with Doctor Who fans. You've got completionists out there.
Yeah.
Going, yes, we will.
It's like the question is, it's not. No, the question is, will they be able to buy this? But not because of
right.
Do they want to?
Right.
No, it's because do they have enough money to?
So let's talk about what's coming in June, like April onwards for 2019 with Big Finish, and let's see what you are most excited for.
April's not got much. I've actually looked into this because I'm like, there's just a lot of stuff coming out this year.
Right. Do you want to go by like the Vortex Monthly or by Doctor?
I'm gonna go by just month.
Okay.
Like, because on the Big Finish website, you can just click on like the text that says latest release, and it says, here's everything that's released in March. So there's the Bernie Summerfield audiobook, the 8th of March, which is a box set that I'm intrigued enough in. But like not enough where I'm like buy.
Right.
I guess the same was true for like the Missy box set, but the difference is with the Missy box set, I know I definitely want it at some point.
Right.
And the 8th, well, with the 8th of March, yeah, I want it because completionism, but like Missy is a box set that I'm wanting just because I love the Master. My plan is to have all of the Big Finish audios with the Master in it. I've got most of them thanks to the fact that Dark Eyes is a thing.
Mm.
You gotta love Alex McQueen. He's like John Sims Master if John Sims Master worked. I'm sorry I'm taking jabs, but I apologize. You can tell I'm not a fan of everything in the modern series of Doctor Who. I do appreciate Modern Who. I just don't like some of it.
And that's totally like there are
That's
11 series worth of it. I don't expect you to love every second of it.
Yeah, but I can pick 11 series of Classic Who. Granted, they would be biased because they would be the 11 best seasons. Actually, no, the first 11 seasons will stop. There's way more to like in the first 11 seasons of Classic Who than New Who. And that's not just because there's just more of it, more of Doctor Who, 60s, but it, like, proportionally, there is still more to like, I think. Because there are things to dislike in those first 11 seasons, mainly the arc, as in the story, the arc. Not a fan of that at all.
Really? I've
Mm,
heard. I had some fan once describe it. It was for the series by series guide, and they said in a video, and they made it akin to like it's like it was a hamburger, that the first half you ate of it was absolutely delicious, and then the second half was completely rotten and just should be thrown in the trash. And I just thought that was such a hilarious metaphor. Like you just have a half and half burger that's like terrible.
it's bland for the first half and then just bad for the second half.
But that idea of like, can we actually point out that like cross species contamination is something that should come up in Doctor Who more often? Like,
Wait,
this is a
cross-species contamination was a thing in the arc.
Yeah, Dodo,
What
like
story was I watching then? Because I don't remember any cross-species contamination. All I remember was like,
Dodo is sick with a cold.
yeah,
And
that's not like cross-species contamination. That's just like cross time. It's like because they didn't have
was it the humans who got sick? Right.
yeah the human.
Okay. I was thinking it was the monoids. You're right, it's not cross species. It was, across time. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's I said that wrong. But yeah,
But still,
that's a cool concept. That's like, it's one of those things where it's like, where does the Doctor like eat? Does the Doctor ever sleep? Like things that the 60s did touch on, which we just don't see much of in the newer series. But what about the second? There was an incredible set for the early adventures. Those look fascinating this year.
yeah,
With the first and second
they've got
Doctor,
2 releases this year,
right? Which is very interesting.
and one of them has the Master in it.
Right.
The only Master in Big Finish that, I mean, it's actually the only Master that Big Finish have on their payroll that I've not listened to yet. But it's also the one that I have least enthusiasm to listen to because I'm just like I've not heard anyone say, "Oh, this person gives something new." It's just like just the Master in it.
A generic British villain voice.
He looks generic. He looks so generic. Like,
well, okay, so no, he's not like Lex Luthor of the Doctor Who universe.
like Queen.
Sure, but like,
I'm fine with the Master just looking like a generic Master, right? Like, goatee and everything. Like, Jacoby in the audios has the goatee. John Sim had the goatee in World Enough Time to Doctor. I'm fine with the Master just having a style,
Mm-hmm.
But he just doesn't. He just looks like a bloke. Like, even though the Master always has a goatee, give or take, Missy. Imagine Missy with a goatee.
It's it's sad that our minds both went there.
Yeah, but it's fine with the master always having a goatee, give or take, woman / being burnt / Eric Roberts.
Oh, trying to figure out the master timeline. I'm so glad I've forgotten everything I researched for that video series, but
Trust me, I've got a working project of like chronologically, like putting every single story into chronological order.
send me that when
Including
you're done.
I don't think I ever will be. Okay, when will
Okay.
the Doctor Who franchise end?
Just you have to go by year, man. You have to go
Ugh,
by year. Just like make a cutoff point. Put out
no,
volume 1.
no,
You know,
I've got versions like but I use the current version as like a template for I sort of half used it as a script for my for my latest Universals video that will be coming next weekend.
ooh, sneak peek.
Yeah, it's a timeline video with
Ooh.
Doctor.
Oh wow. Oh, you're a brave soul. You didn't include comics, did you?
The comics aren't the problem. It's Big Finish because the thing is, you
Oh,
speak
do
about
they
TV.
not leave enough gaps? Is that the problem?
Well, no, it's not that there's nothing that leaves enough gaps. It's that there's just so much of it that
Wow.
there is so much filled by Big Finish. Um, like
The the thing with timelines is that from a basic like it tricks you into thinking, oh yeah, I can do this, right? Because
yeah,
they're like, we can go by Doctor. We know what season this story was in
and
or
then you
between.
decide to do short trips.
And short trips are the worst because it's like,
Comics
do
are
we
also
need to
really
let you know when this story happened? Nah. Like this could go anywhere in the timeline. So you end up with these clusters of short trips where the timeline creators are like, we don't know where to put this. Just so that's where I'm like, I would like to do a timeline
Sixth and
where it's
Seventh
like
Doctors are the worst for that. They
this is
actually
the
are.
and the written short trips are almost worse than the because there are way more of them than the audio short trips. So like
Yeah.
trying to include comics
Done
too
them
though.
all. I've added all of the pros short trips. Every single one. All of
TARDIS
them.
isn't TARDIS Wikia lovely.
It was actually the Doctor Who reference guide.
Isn't that I undervalue that site because it's not fully updated, so I tend to just be like,
But
you're not post
with
2013.
older stuff. With older stuff it works.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust the Eighth Doctor stuff on there though, because it says the Eighth Doctor and Lisa Miller stuff happens before the EDA books are finished, which we know that can't happen because Dark Eyes exists.
So, really a geeky question, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you have a way of checking your timeline? I'm thinking Fifth Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there were 2 stories with Adric. The Darkening Eye was one of them, and then there was a story beginning with C. And there was this back and forth about does that story come before the Darkening Eye or after the Darkening Eye? And the only clues were like, well, the Fifth Doctor was reading the Black Orchid, the book that he got in Black Orchid in this story, but in this other story, there's a lot more foreshadowing for Earthshock. So does it go before or after? I don't want to see
The
where.
story beginning with C. That's a good question.
It was
Where is
like
this?
it would be something like the Crimson Horror, but it's not the Crimson Horror.
The Contingency Club?
No, it was.
I don't see any stories beginning with C.
I might totally be remembering this wrong.
Time Crash?
Crash, comma time. No, I'm looking up this.
I've got the darkening eye, but like the thing is, I tend to put things like in release order when there's nothing.
Absolutely. That's when you default to release order.
No, I always default to release all order unless specifically like it is 100%. It cannot be set anywhere else. But like with Doctor Who, everything's so arbitrary because everything like contradicts each other all the time anyway. So what's
I know. It's like, why?
and even like Big Finish, they do adaptations of stories. They contradiction because they can't coexist some of the time.
So you know that when I said it started with C, it turns out there's no C to be found in this audio. It was iterations of I.
Iterations of
I misled you.
I actually put it like in release order with all the other Fifth Doctor season 19 TARDIS team like stuff, like the main cluster of it.
Okay.
That's what I default to. I default to a main cluster. Because why not? Like sometimes, you know, you just can't put it somewhere else. Like, I think it's a habit I got into after doing the first and second Doctor.
It's clustering.
Yeah, because when there's a space, abuse that space. Because 60s who just led into each other all the time.
So let's talk about the first and second Doctor comics. Like, are we talking John and Gillian, the Dalek Chronicles?
I'm just leaving them, just not touching them.
Okay,
I'm scared of them.
I understand why.
Just like Stephen Lee for a bit or something. I don't know. I'm gonna assume no.
What also is like apparently the Doctor has other grandchildren. It's just
Susan's never mentioned in these comics, and John and Julian are never mentioned in the other. Maybe it's all set in the land of fiction. We don't know. Okay, that's my headcanon. It's Doctor Who as set in the land of fiction. It's like land of fiction version of the first Doctor. There we go. That's my headcanon.
Oh my god.
Therefore, I don't need to put this in here. Done.
Well, that's where I would honestly be okay with a timeline that was just TV and audios. Like, that's the sort of marathon I mean, I dream of doing the marathon where you read through and listen to and watch everything. But I would be just as happy, like, to avoid the headache and try and do just focus on getting the audios completely in canon, non-contradictory order.
I think audios and books are easy to slot in. Those are like the easiest things to slot in, and they're not mutually exclusive.
It's the short trips, man. Short trips that just...
I mean, those are the things that aren't contradictory. The comics, however, those are the things that will give you a headache. No, those will give you a headache when it comes to just like
the John Ridgway
stuff. And then
John Ridgway era, where it's like, are the Cybermen Time Lords and the Time Lord Cybermen? Like, it's like
Rassilon's a Cyberman ?
It's just like, how are we supposed to reconcile this?
Just Hellbent screws a lot of things up. So does Twice Upon a Time. To be honest, I find it easier just to consider. Okay, let's assume Hellbent happened for some reason. I try to find ways of making that non-canon. Everything. But Twice Upon a Time's easier because he's just lying on the ground in the Doctor Falls, and maybe he's having a regeneration dream. It's like a fever dream, but while you're regenerating. And that's why everything...
Oh, I mean, remember that...
It makes more sense. So
you know that moment...
Yeah.
You know that moment when you're creating the timeline and you're like, no, I'm going to solve this problem because the TV show gets precedence. Like, this is how I'm going to solve the problem. I'm going to go with like you have the sort of hierarchy of what things have more say with canon. It's like the TV shows.
I
Most
make my own
canon,
rules up.
Big Finish. I imagine you do with the Big Finish, and I'd love to hear your order. But for me, it's like TV show. That's the most canon,
Well, of
followed
course.
by Big Finish, followed by books, and then comics are the least canon because they're just the craziest. And then you come to the moments in the TV show when you're like, shoot, I don't want this to be canon, and you've just got yourself in a logic trap.
Here's my solution. Just treat everything as equal. Then you become an agent of chaos. Then you cherry pick at that point.
Okay, well, at least we're being honest.
The thing is, with my timeline, it's not detailed. It's just like story order. So, like with 12th Doctor, I still have Twice Upon a Timeline.
Right.
I have to.
I hope so.
but like, actually, using the logic of Twice Upon a Time is a dream, surely that means I have to put dimensions in time for the 7th Doctor, because that's a nightmare.
Oh, that's...
I literally... No, seriously, I'm pretty sure in a Virgin New Adventure it's confirmed to actually be a nightmare the Doctor has.
The cruelest thing about trying to decide about making dimensions in time not canon is that it means that the 6th Doctor never meets up on screen with the Brigadier. And for me, that covers a world of hurt. Like, I can ignore the rest of that story, and there'll still be a tiny part of my brain that's just shorting out. But I can deal with that. I can put up with that pain if I know that the 6th Doctor on screen met up with the Brigadier. Like,
but do you know what would have been less annoying? You know,
I mean, I know that happens in...
Okay, let's just say, what if Dimensions in Time never happened, and what if the BBC just never screwed with Doctor Who and just let it be? Then we would have had it in season 23. But no, the BBC were like, we don't want Doctor Who on anymore. So then they didn't make that story. So then, yeah, and then the show eventually got cancelled, and then Dimensions in Time happened. So,
imagine what would have been.
You can imagine what would have been by watching my Universal's video on the Lost season 23.
Get those plugs in there. You could also find out about the Lost season 23 Big Finish sale music video that I did on my channel. As long as we're getting our season 23 plugs in there. By the way,
sale may or may not still be going on.
By the way, we're like two fans who are still protesting years later to bring Doctor Who back, and just nobody's told
It's not been brought back properly yet. Doctor in distress. Bring him back now. We won't take less. Not her. I bet people have done that, actually, protesting outside BBC studios. Bring the Doctor back. Bring him back.
Like in the 5-ish Doctors, when they've got their protest signs, but they're no longer filmed.
Yeah.
Television center.
See, the 5-ish Doctors is a better 50th anniversary than any of the 50th anniversary specials, because it's a better celebration of the show. It has more classic Doctors, and it has more John Barrowman in it.
Here's the thing. I'm reluctant to be just that. It was bad because it didn't have classic Doctor Who in it type of fan, because there's a lot of that going on right now that I'm like, it's may not be helpful at keeping the show alive and going. But Day of the Doctor, it's a brilliant episode. Obviously, we know that things didn't go as we would have liked them to, because originally it was written to have the 9th Doctor.
Yeah.
But still, considering that, it was a brilliant rewrite with adding in the War Doctor, and we got lovely John Hurt Big Finish audios out of it, and it was a really engaging story. My problem with it is that it had no classic Doctors in it. Like, and I'm talking like, you don't have to, like, I'm thinking like cameos. It's frustrating to me when people are like, "Oh, they're old," or
they're all at the end.
That non-CGI'd and episode clips, appearances of these. I want like the actors there again. And you could have done so many cool things. Like if we had the 13 episode series leading up to a finale on November 23rd. Imagine that, right? And then in each episode of that 13 part season, you had a cameos of actors from classic Doctor Who for each Doctor's era, just chock full of that episode. Like, still a coherent story. It doesn't have to be a multi-Doctor thing. It can move the current Doctor, Matt Smith's Doctor in that case, along. But we would have just had so many cameos that we couldn't even keep track. Like, oh, was that Carol Ann Ford? Right? Yeah. It's like
just Jago and Lightfoot. That would have made me happy.
And like, so if you don't think that I don't know how you can think that having Doctors 4 through 11 minus 9 wouldn't have been a brilliant idea for a 50th anniversary special. And the fact that they marketed it, like I remember a really cool CGI trailer. Like the Doctors were. It ended with the 11th Doctor on this like pillar, and you had like the 4th Doctor falling. That was so misleading. Misleading. Like, oh, we put out trailers making you think there would be like all 11 Doctors in this, except they're not. So I think that should have come out on 2015 and been the incredible celebration of the new series that it was. It's just I would have preferred, like, I don't mind like that. I don't care if they're older, if they've put on a little bit of weight. Like, the whole point is to thank these incredible actors who have contributed to the show, and because without them we obviously wouldn't be here. So.
I feel like Day of the Doctor, it just should have been more about looking to the past. And I don't care that the other Doctors weren't a main part of it, but I feel like I like to imagine, like, what if we got Paul McGann instead of John Hurt? Still would have been an amazing performance. But then
that one comic of the 8th Doctor slipping down the stairs on a banana peel and regenerating into the 9th Doctor would still be canon. That for a long time was my head canon.
No. Regeneration would happen in the Day of the Doctor. No.
Just once I want a regeneration of a banana peel. Like, we've had the Doctor sneezing himself into Peter Capaldi. We can have a classic banana peel gag.
Give it to the monk, and I'll be happy. But yes, but I like to imagine, like, when the Doctor's been sent back to push the button, like when the moment says, I refuse to call her Bad Wolf. The moment, when she says, people who hear the police box sound or TARDIS sound, it gives them hope, and then you start hearing the sound. I think instead of you know what I mean, like, instead of Captain Smith, it's Davison, Baker, and McCoy. But it's like,
Baker, Davison, Baker, and McCoy.
No. We keep the Tom cameo at the end.
Okay. You want to like really freak out classic Who fans into thinking for like 5 dreadful minutes that the 4th Doctor was left out of the 50th.
Yeah, like, but the 5th, 6th, and 7th Doctor, they look older because they're actually the moment, and it's representing the Doctor. This is who the Doctor was, but he's been worn away.
I mean, when
thematicness,
I get trying to explain why the Doctors look older, but also
time differential.
I think we're too far gone for that. When you consider that in the 5 Doctors we had a photo shoot with a wax figure of Tom Baker. We also had Richard Hartnell as William Hartnell. Like, those two things already made set a precedent that that you don't need to make, like, we already can't explain why William Hartnell's face looks different every time we bring him back. we already have that problem in place. Plus, you know,
Robot duplicate.
the Tesselecta?
No,
Tessellect?
no, no, no. The Dalek
Tessellect?
robot duplicate from Chase. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, yes. Oh,
You see, I'm a
um,
proper Classic Who fan. I think of Classic Who when I make Classic Who references.
his name was, oh, yeah, no, I do know of that. The from the Chase, the
Sorry,
his
that's
name was Doctor. Yeah, I mean, it's you got Richard Hurnell, you've got the actor who from Listen who played the first Doctor.
it's not canon.
It is canon. It totally is. You look at his hair and tell me that's not a young William Hartnell. It's
It is a young William Hartnell,
it's
but that scene is a
oh
dream. Like the whole Danny Pink scene when he was young, that was a dream, right? They went into the dream. So this time they went into the Doctor's dream, or they went into the Doctor's imagination, and the Doctor. And the thing is,
it's your solution.
Right.
You don't like in Doctor Who to make it a dream.
So this is how this is my Grandmaster's plan to try and make the looms canon.
You're like the Dream Lord. Like,
now,
don't like it? I'm gonna snap my fingers, and it's a dream. How do you know it's a dream? It gets a rating below a 5.
Saranga Conundrum was a dream. Ben can't get pregnant, right?
Let's talk about this Saranga Conundrum for a second, because I cannot wait for when the 4K Smell-O-Vision VR release of Series 11 comes out. That is what our Classic Series Blu-ray releases are today. The re-release of the Series 11 re-release of the future, that will have optional CGI features effects to make the one thing that's wrong with the Saranga Conundrum, which is, in my opinion, the look of that monster. It's like too adorable. The Pating. Even the name, they're going to dub it over with like the Monster of Death or whatever. They're gonna dub over the name with something.
Like, instead of Pating, it's just like Monster of Death.
Like, yeah, it just pauses. The screen pauses until the sentence "the Monster of Death" plays out, and then everything just goes on.
It's just like they like film like someone like probably Nick Briggs or something say the Monster of Death, like CG his mouth over every character who says the word Pating.
Yeah. So they will insert a better CGI'd monster for that story, because I just,
I think the CG of the Pating wasn't so bad.
It was great CGI. It was great. Don't get me wrong. It was great CGI. It just looked far too adorable for what it was trying to be scare. It's like, I'm sorry, is this a cross between Lilo
and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch. No, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch and Kermit the Frog. Like, what are you going for here?
I don't see Kermit the Frog. It's more like Lilo and Stitch at the same time.
Okay, so it's okay. Whenever I say something that you disagree with, you can just go back into the live stream and say that it was a dream.
Dream.
So
anyway,
I'm going to test you.
Right.
There are 5 actors who have played the first Doctor other than William Hartnell. And
on screen.
Right. So obviously
Richard Hurndall and David Bradley.
Right. It's Edmund Warwick who played the stunt double, the robot duplicate in The Chase, but he also stood in for William Hartnell in the Dalek Invasion of Earth, apparently, according to TARDIS Wikia. And then
Robot Duplicate.
That was Edmund Morrick. He played the robot doctor in The Chase. He also played Darius in The Keys of Marinus, apparently. Gordon Craig stood in for William Hartnell as the first Doctor during the recording of the 3rd episode of The 10th Planet, as he was too ill to work. I knew nothing of this. That's crazy. Like, I think of the Chase when we think of duplicates. And then there was Richard Hartnell, and then Michael Jones was the actor who played a young first Doctor in the television story. Listen, if it's good enough for the TARDIS Wikia, it's good enough for me.
John Goyler, I don't know how to pronounce his surname, but he voices the first Doctor in The Day of the Doctor.
And also in the reconstruction of the Planet of Giants episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah. I don't see why Big Finish haven't hired him.
Yeah, well, it's because
I guess it's cheaper.
If you get a companion to do a voice of the Doctor, to me it seems to hold more approval in the fans' eyes in general, in my perception, even if it's worse than having somebody step in. Like, I don't get why.
Well, the Companion Chronicles, I'm fine with it because it's the companions who are
remembering it.
Yeah. Yes. But with the early adventures, it's just like, fair enough, Fraser Hines does a good Troughton. He does a really good Troughton.
Yeah.
I love his Troughton. First Doctor stuff, on the other hand, it's just like, I'm not listening to a First Doctor early adventure yet, but
I think it's passable.
I do think Peter Purvis's is passable.
Right.
So, like
I think Caroline Ford.
It's not Hartnell. I honestly prefer Maureen O'Brien's First Doctor impression because it viscerally feels more like Hartnell. It's just Peter Purvis is a man, so has man voice.
Yeah, Tom Baker doing Elizabeth Sladen's voice in the robot audio that like came with the Pandorica action figure set that like. I don't know if you remember that. It had like the 6 walls of the Pandorica came with CDs that had the print of the Pandorica on them, and they came in 6 different sets. Tom Baker did a really good impression of Elizabeth Sladen. Not that it sounded the most like her, but for a guy trying to do for an older guy trying to do a female voice, that I think he did a really respectable job. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go all Minnie Mouse on this. It was just like, okay, that works.
I mean, it's because he worked with Liz for years, so of course.
I'm excited that in the next season of the Early Adventures, we're getting Peter Purvis and Fraser Hines on double duty as companions and doctors.
In the same story.
That's going to be so cool.
And Katarina's back.
Right. Oh my
Somehow.
God.
I've always wanted like there to be more stories of Katarina, because I feel like I mean I've not seen her appearance in the Mythmakers, but I've seen all the episodes of the Daleks Master. Well, quote unquote seen. I've seen all one of the surviving episodes, and the reconstructions, of course. But I feel like she could grow on me. You know, just give her more time, and she's dead. Just that's not fair. You didn't even give her a chance.
What I love that they did with the character of Sarah Kingdom is that they wrote in these gaps of travel time, which from the
created by the Feast of Stephen, funnily enough.
From the point of view of us timeline compilers, like, I mean, you look at the Ninth Doctor, and they wrote in no time for any of his adventures to have happened in extended media. it's like, where do you put the solo Ninth Doctor? Oh, right, in that 5-second trip at the end of Rose.
Now you say that, but I think it's very possible for the Ninth Doctor to have had adventures before Rose.
But then, without recognizing his face?
But does that necessarily mean he just regenerated? Because he could just be like, "Oh, look at my ears," so it just could be just a quirky thing.
So, have you recently just like looked in the mirror and been like, "Oh, my ears! Wow, I'm gonna notice them."
It's like just maybe it's just like maybe we didn't see the full regeneration at the end of Day of the Doctor. Maybe he just regenerated with a full head of hair covering his ears, like
a haircut right before Rose.
Yeah. and then he's like, "Ooh, look at me." He had a haircut, and it's just like,
you would rather write in canon for the Ninth Doctor, like he goes through an alien transporter and ends up with enlarged ears.
No, I'd rather go with like he's got like Bob Ross hair but bigger. And then he just has a haircut because he's got like knits or something, or cyber knits.
Oh. I like to think that every time the Ninth Doctor looks in a mirror, he just like checks his ears. Like, yep, those are still big. What?
It's like, for my next trick, ooh, look at me ears. It's like he sees himself in the Dalek's eye stalk, like as a reflection. He's like, "Why didn't you just die? Ooh, my ears look nice."
My word, that's I'm liking this. It's just
yeah. Big Finish should do like proper Ninth Doctor adventures, or just make a companion chronicle box set with like the Ninth Doctor companions.
Can we recognize Nick Briggs for doing the incredible Ninth Doctor impression that he does?
I don't know because I've not heard.
Night of the Whisper. It's a brilliant Destiny of the Doctor, Ninth Doctor story.
Ninth Doctor Chronicles.
I cried during that story. It was a brilliant story, and
it's by the friend of mine. Just continue.
It's in the Destiny of the Doctor series, and it's really, really good. Nick Briggs does the Ninth Doctor, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's better than Passable. That's great. Like, apparently he can do more than shout exterminate. Like, that's brilliant.
Fantastic too. Exterminate, fantastic, delete.
Catchphrase.
More vocabulary by the year.
So let's talk about the Macro Terror for a second.
I do not.
Do you have it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I will.
What's your opinion on black and white versus color?
Interesting.
Like, for the first time watching it,
I would. With Power of the Daleks, I watched that first time black and white.
I think I watched it first time color, but we only got through the first 3 episodes.
I'm someone that's like, look, if it was made to be in black and white, I'm watching it in black and white.
So, yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I totally agree with that. First off,
also, if it's not made to be in black and white, it could still be better in black and white.
One argues if anybody ever purposely, other than post-color TV being a thing, one could argue that nobody purposely made things for, like, this is a very blanket statement that's bound to be incorrect, but just that statement, like, they made it for black and white, to me just seems a little bit weird, because like, if they had a color camera lying around, I'm pretty sure they would have been like, oh, we can design things with color and not have to worry about how this shade of brown is coming across as red on the camera.
It's a big issue because like color TV in the UK actually had existed for a few years before Doctor Who switched to color. It's just Doctor Who did not have the budget to film in color. Until they just decided to make less episodes.
But it turns out even then the BBC would take measures to make sure that a lot of the Third Doctor era would be black and white for us anyway.
I mean, the thing is, I think they found it easier to store things that are in black and white. I think they must have done. And because the black and white copies weren't deleted, that's why we've got all of the Third Doctor stories. But because the color master tapes were, because
for me
they weren't really needed because they have the same mentality as the 60s.
For me, as long as each release has black and white and color as optional, and like black and white is the default, I'm totally fine with it. Like that's totally fine. I think what annoys me most about the current Macra Terror release is that in the US, like, okay, so yes, we've been getting Big Finish for 30% off for years now. That's a big advantage, but the Macra Terror isn't coming out until October 8th of 2019.
What the heck? Why is it coming out in October?
You tell me.
What?
October 8th, 2019.
That doesn't make sense.
You've got BFI screenings in London that I could fly to.
And you could see
October. And this happened with Shada too. It was like half a year later for the and it finally came out in like the fall. It's like I think people in Australia might have gotten Shada before we did, like which is not the norm.
I mean,
I
would understand if the Australians got the black and white stuff first, because some of the, if it weren't for them, we may not have even had some. We might not even have some footage.
Yeah.
Australia.
Thank you, censorship board.
Yeah, Australia 62. There we go. You can have your 62 Josh Snares. You can have that first. I would be not that.
His missing episode series is so amazing. I've seen like one episode, and I'm like, this makes me feel so bad about my missing episodes videos.
Yeah,
they're just so good. It's an inspiration, really.
Peter Purvis and Wendy Padbury submitted videos in response to his series.
No, really?
Yeah, after episode 2 of Josh's series. Episode 2 was the episode where he was speaking about the Galaxy 4. And Peter Purvis decided to give us more insight on what actually happened during the production of Galaxy 4 and why he just wasn't happy with it, because Peter Purvis was angry that he was given Barbara's lines. But he was only given Barbara's lines because, until a few days before they shot it or something like that, the writer of the story didn't know that it was going to be Peter Purvis delivering those lines, but he still thought he was going to be Jacqueline Hill. So I don't know if it was a few days, but it was somewhere near the broadcast of the story. So, but Peter didn't know that. The writer didn't know. So even if he did know, it would still be a bit annoying, if you're given Barbara's dialogue when you're not Barbara. But it's interesting. And then Wendy Padbury submitted something for the final episode, because she was talking about what was happening on the Space Pirates and speaking about what was happening on set. Because we want to know more about the Space Pirates.
Hey.
It's not like
horror story.
Seriously, the Space Pirates. It's like, does anyone like that story?
I haven't listened to it.
Me neither.
I've seen the surviving episode.
Is the question? it seems like the kind of story that, you know, I don't think it'll be the worst story ever.
Mm-hmm. It's
But like top 5 or bottom 5, should I say, for Patrick Troughton, probably.
you know what I was thinking about the other day is actually it's kind of hard to come up with a bottom 5 for Pertwee. A lot of his stories I just really enjoy.
I've not seen all of his stories yet, and what I've seen is mostly good. Like so far, I would even rank Spearhead from Space in my bottom 5 so far for Pertwee. Like,
what? Come again? Can you just repeat that?
now I have not seen all of Pertwee, so this may change. But as of the 23rd of March, 2019,
Okay.
Spearhead from Space is within the bottom 5 for Pertwee. But
When you say bottom, do you mean top?
is the Time Monster the best one? Now, the thing is, it's because I'm not like, I'm a massive fan of Spearhead from Space, but it's not like it's bad. It's good. It's just,
we
yeah,
are talking about Pertwee. Like bottom 5 for Pertwee is not the same as like bottom 5s for other doctors.
yeah. Like the thing is, there are bad Pertwee stories. I've only seen one Pertwee story I would actually consider bad, but there are bad Pertwee stories. The thing is, Spearhead from Space is just one that I didn't love. That's why it would automatically make my bottom 5 at the moment.
I mean, it's refreshing to hear that opinion because oftentimes the discussion is just like Spirit from Space is perfect, and
it's my least
I will like
season 7 definitely, and I've seen all of season 7, so you can't say, oh, it won't be. No, it is. There you go. Here's an opinion that probably won't change. Blimey, that escalated quickly. Just, I am gonna get 0 subscribers. But like, Doctor and the Silurians is interesting. Inferno's different, and so is Ambassadors of Death. Like Spearhead from Space, right? It's just like the Invasion, but without the Cybermen. We've seen it before, which you sort of need. So Spearhead from Space serves its purpose, but the only bit I particularly like about Spearhead from Space is that glorious HD, because I've got the Steelbook.
Oh, that beautiful steel. Steelbooks are something we just don't get in America.
Yeah, I feel sorry for you over there. Do you know what? Do you know what's annoying though? As a completionist,
yeah.
I don't have the Series 9 Steelbook.
Ooh,
I don't have the series.
one.
I don't have the season 12 Blu-ray collection.
You know what's really making me sad is that you can buy Series 11 on eBay for roundabouts $11. It's not making me sad. It's making me very happy because I will totally be picking that up. But it's just like, oh, that hurts. See, so what Steelbooks do you have then?
I have all of them. All of the like. I mean, I'm not including Peter Cushing films in this, but I have all of them but Series 9. So, well, and Macroterra now.
Right.
But that can change. Unlike Series 9, that will never change because not because I don't want to get it, but because I physically can't. Seriously, trying to search for Series 9, right? Trying to search for that steelbook is like trying to search for a drop of water in a desert. You just don't.
Do you have 191 pounds? Because it's on Amazon UK.
Wait, it's on Amazon.
Yeah, for
okay.
191 pounds plus, this is what gets me. 191 pounds plus like 7 pounds shipping. It's like when you're charging that much for a single steelbook, you don't think you could pad in the price of like offer free shipping and just add it into your price? That's tough. So you have the Series 11.
I do
steelbook.
have Series 11 Steelbook.
Nice. Series 9 steelbook.
I've got the Series 10 one. I've got all the others. Well, so I don't have the Series 5 one, but
The only steelbook I have is the complete 4th series steelbook. From the US. It's called a tin here.
yeah. We don't have that.
Hmm.
I think. I mean, the Steelbooks we do have. Going in chronological order of broadcasts of these stories. There's Power of the Daleks. There's Macroterror.
Mhm.
Spearhead.
Spearhead. Shada.
Do we count Shada in terms of broadcast order? Because Shada was not broadcast.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So Shada, Series 1, Series
Eighth
2.
Doctor.
We don't actually have a steelbook of the TV
Really?
movie. We've got the Blu-ray. There's the Blu-ray of it, but there's no steelbook yet.
You know what I love? In the US, we just get the special edition release. That's it. No normal edition, no Blu-ray.
Like, that's really weird. Like, I've got the standard edition of the TV movie, and it's got a weird cover. Like, you know what like Region 2 standard edition of TV movie is, right?
Yes.
Like, it's just got an alternate angle of the light on Paul McGann's eyes. Then there's also that stock photo, like the promotional photo of Paul McGann. Then just Eric Roberts
in the middle there.
Just like it's all the early Region 2 DVDs are really weird. Thank goodness for Clayton Hickman.
Can we talk about Remembrance of the Daleks?
I had a feeling you would. Now, people say Remembrance of the Daleks, but I think Robots of Death looks weirder.
Well,
I think Robots of Death is worse.
I will defend Robots of Death, because it's one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, I can see why that's also one of those.
No, I will defend the story, but I just won't defend the DVD like artwork.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially seeing as how Big Finish already had their game pretty good back then.
Tomb of the Cybermen.
That one had effort.
A little bit.
Unlike the actual main feature of the DVD.
Ooh.
Which was literally just a port of the VHS. The special feature was restoration work, which they eventually completed and then put on the special edition, which I also have. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Imagine if they released special edition Big Finish stuff. Well, I guess, special edition of older releases, as opposed to like, the novel adaptations, limited edition, like Light at the End, limited edition, 10th Doctor Adventures.
I mean, as a completionist, I'm down to get pretty much everything. You know what I am like, really, after watching The Geek's Handbag, all of The Geek's Handbag.
You're a completionist for The Geek's Handbag specifically.
Yes. The type of merchandise videos that I didn't expect to like the most on his channel were the blind box unboxings. And now I'm like looking at them on eBay, like trying to see what can I get the best price for, because I have a feeling I'm going to get addicted to those, and I don't want to sink that amount of money into them. So that's something that I'm definitely like.
Yeah.
I mean, also there's the thing of like not having any money at the moment, but
Yeah. That's not as important.
you still shop, right?
Yeah, you just go into debt, you know. So we haven't actually spoken about Big Finish we've listened to recently.
Oh, okay. Big Finish.
Have you listened to any within like the last week or so? Or
I've not necessarily within the last week, but I did recently listen to Doom Coalition, the first part again, and then
okay, so you've listened to all of Doom Coalition already, haven't you?
just of the first box set.
Oh, just the first box set. Okay.
I would love to, except box sets. If I see a box set get down to $15, I will get it. But most of the time, if it's like $80 for 4 or 60 for 3, it's like that's still a lot of money. But now that it's going up to 30%, I may as well just resign myself to the fact that I'm never getting Big Finish again.
Money. What is that? You know, we're Doctor Who fans. We don't know what money is. We just like put a check in the bank and we already just get Big Finish orders. I mean, just like
we're just paying for things that we've already bought, like the payment plans that we've made. So yeah, I listened to that, and I know I listened to something else recently, but it has escaped my mind. I'm going through my videos now.
Library.
Yeah, that's what my brother said when I was complaining about the 30% increase. He's like, now you'll have to listen to some of your like huge collection of Big Finish audios. Yeah, I've got 327 downloads.
Lightweight. I've probably got that many on my shelf.
And CDs. I was gonna say this is probably not gonna be as impressive to you, but
no, it's not. It's well, I consider like actually having the CDs like somewhat more impressive, but having all those downloads still invested a lot of money into it, so it's.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
do you want to calculate how much money I've spent on Big Finish?
No, because I've probably spent more, and I don't want to think about how much I've spent. So.
Well, why don't you tell us about your Big Finish collection or what you've recently listened to?
I've recently listened to the Fourth Doctor comic strip adaptations.
Lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good, isn't it? Like.
Chris Thompson was in a Big Finish, not playing the second Doctor, so like that's interesting.
He was in. To be honest, I mean, other than the Fourth Doctor, obviously, and Beat the Meep. Because Beat the Meep, you can't beat the Fourth Doctor, and you can't beat the Meep. But Chris Thompson was probably the best part about that audio in terms of performance.
Yay!
He had the most entertaining performance, I would say. Other than Tom Baker existing and Beat the Meep meeping, I guess.
That sounds amazing.
I just love Beat the Meep. Like, this isn't my first experience with Beat the Meep because I listened to the Ratings War. Spoiler alert, he's in the Ratings War, played by Toby Longworth, which Toby Longworth was in the Iron Legion adaptation, but he wasn't playing Beat the Meep. They got a woman to play Beat the Meep. How controversial. You can't have a woman play a male character. Shaking my fist.
Except apparently they do it all the time in kids' television shows. Like Cyber Chase, Matt was played by a woman, which is like
Bart Simpson's voiced by a woman.
Seriously?
Yeah, Bart Simpson.
Wow. I did not know this.
Bart Simpson is voiced by he's always been voiced by a woman.
I mean, I don't watch The Simpsons, so
Fair.
I don't know
I,
much
I
other
don't
than
I don't
the
watch it anymore.
Tom Baker Doctor Who cameos that you see in the show.
Yeah. But anyway, Tom Baker. The thing is, Tom Baker usually, he did this all the time on TV, but in Big Finish, he does occasionally suggest improvements to the script.
Yeah. Oh yes, yes.
But for the comic strip adaptations, I get the impression that he didn't do much in terms of that. Not because they were trying to be strict to the source material, but because Tom was feeling, actually this works. It's just like, the only changes he would give to the script is like stuff that either would make it very much easier for him, or he thinks it's funnier for him to say. Like, because he said, because like there was a bit where he said armaments, but he said not just armaments but legaments as well. Because like the monsters have like detachable limbs, so it is. Well, I say they're the monsters, but they're the goodies. Spoiler alert for Doctor and the Star Beast: Beat the Meep's the villain. The Star Beast in the Star Beast is the villain. Dun dun dun. Like, okay, just I don't. If people didn't think that Beep the Meep was going to be the villain in Doctor and the Star Beast, if they knew nothing about comics at all going into this, fair enough. But if you know something about Doctor Who comics, other than Frobisher is a thing, you know who Beep the Meep is. So,
I mean, yes, but
I mean, you won't have experienced much of him, which is fair enough. I've not either, but like, you know who he is. Like this adorable little hamster-looking thing who is also a war criminal. It works. And also, the Star Beast introduces the companion of Sharon. I'm not going to spoil like what drives her to join the Doctor, because I feel like that's a genuine thing that I would rather, unless if you've read the Star Beast or listened to the adaptation, I will not spoil. I'll spoil Beep the Meep because, quite frankly, that's kind of clear that Beep the Meep he's a famous villain. So it's like saying, oh, in that episode Dalek,
there was a Dalek.
there's that singular Dalek in that episode Dalek. Yeah, he's the villain. It's not quite the same, but you get my point.
Right.
I mean, the titular Star Beast in the Star Beast is the villain. And it's like, even when you're listening to the story, it's just like, well, like, it's clearly Star Beast singular. And the people that seem like the antagonists there's more than one of them. So there isn't a singular Star Beast. But Beep the Meep, or just the Meep as he's known in the opening, or in the early parts of the story, or just Meep. He's clearly like, it's one of them. There's one of him. There's only a singular Meep, and it's just, yeah, no. I think the story can make it easy for you to guess, although it isn't explicit that he's the only Meep in that story.
Yes.
Which I'm not going to spoil. Actually, I've already dug myself into this hole. He's except for
I've read the
flashbacks.
comics, so
Yeah, you've read the comic?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. So you know what happens in the Star Beast, like.
It's been a while, so I'm open.
So like, Sharon's going to school, and then this kid called Fudge goes, oh, did you hear about that UFO? Let's go investigate. And Sharon's like, no, I don't want to be late. And so I just like, go, oh, come on. Then cuts to the doctor or something, then cuts back, and Sharon's like, I don't know how you got me to agree to do this. And then they encounter me, and then, yeah, it's like, thing is, when I was listening to it, I wasn't sure if he was the only meep. Turns out he was, if we're counting present tense only, because we hear flashbacks of, like, you know, the meat world. And yeah,
what an age we live in, you know.
where we speak about beat the meat.
Yeah, like Big Finish doing comic recreations. It's just
Not just that, they're just having more comics based influences recently as well, because like in a Seventh Doctor main range story from last year, WG Dog Bolter was the villain.
yes,
Dog Bolter is back.
Dog Bolter.
So okay, Dog Bolter, who was the villain in the Maltese Penguin, who was also a villain in DWM comics,
Yes,
was in there, right? He's a villain again. They're adapting DWM comics. Right, so you've done one thing which is good, done another thing which is good. Where's Frobisher? I'm just like, right, Beep the Meep is back, and that's good, but Frobisher, where is my penguin? Give me my penguin, Big Finish. It is my right to have the penguin. Like this is not a luxury. This is a right to have my penguin. Just give us a monthly range trilogy. Just a singular trilogy. A singular trilogy. Like, you're bringing back Mags. You bring back Mags next month. Bring back the Penguin. But no, we need another Perry trilogy, apparently. Just like... So they brought back Chameleon. They brought back Mags. Who next? I know. Perry. Why not Frobisher? Why not Frobisher?
So I've done the calculations, and
oh no,
you got to realize there was a 2017, 2016 were good years for me in Big Finish because I was working, and in order to get through the job, because it was really mindless work, it was like putting in names and birth dates and for like 8 hours a day. And I did this like once a week for probably about a year. And in order to get through the boringness of the job, I would listen to Big Finish audios. Like phones weren't allowed in the workplace, but my MP3 player was, and you can be sure I was listening to audios, and I was actually more productive listening to audios because I wasn't worrying about mistyping anything. So I actually ended up working there so that I could buy more audios so that I could have audios to listen to while I was working there. It was it was a cycle. So on average, I have spent $2.86 per Big Finish audio that I own, aka 2.16 pounds on each Big Finish download, which I think is pretty cool. That's a total of, and again, I'm slightly horrified by this. It's a total of $936 or 708 pounds spent on 327 Big Finish downloads. So it adds up.
Making me think about how much I've spent on my CDs.
I mean, we already know that it's it's 15 pounds per CD. So if I had gone the CD route,
some things are even more. Like I bought Chimes Midnight on eBay and it was like 40 quid.
Right. So that's let's see, 708 pounds that I'd spent divided by 15 pounds, which is realistic. I could have gotten the first 47 main range audios at this point. So I've gotten like 6 times more audios by shopping the sales.
Yeah.
And being really cheap. But that's not bad. Like
No.
considering
Mhm.
it's when I think that like some teenagers bought cars, and I haven't even spent that on my collection. Uh, so that's not terrible.
Yeah. Who needs a car anyway?
Right, right. Who needs to be able to drive places?
You
Just
know, just get the bus.
just get the bus. You don't have to talk to anybody because you'll have nice big headphones in, listening to Big Finish.
Yeah. Just just pop in Derek Jacobi, just being a maniac, and like seriously, the War Master, Master of Callus is actually a box that I'd recommend anyone picking up. Just War Master in general is just a series that's just good. Like Master of Callus is
Mhm.
horrifying.
Yeah, he does some pretty crazy stuff.
Like
Uh,
talk people into suicide. He actually does listen, Master of Callus. Not just
that's
one person, multiple people. This
and
is just.
see,
I don't want to say he's my favorite master because I
well,
can
that's
say that of someone, but in terms of a pure writing level, how can I not? Also, I would be scared to say anyone else's because I don't want him like sending an ood to like shoving a phone in my face. Like, you know. The ood are really well done in Master of Callus, by the way. They're really creepy. But it's like
yeah,
just
really.
the thing is, if you're wanting to get Master of Callus for 4 hours of Jacoby, no. If you're wanting it for Jacoby at all, yeah, for 2 episodes. Like
Oh,
he's not really in episode one. He's just at the other end of the phone, just telling people. Not he's not telling them to kill themselves, but he's telling them things that make them want to kill themselves. Like he reveals
uh,
dark truths, and then like someone's walking by just wondering why Nude is standing out in the rain. And it's just like I had a call for him, and it's just like then why are you still standing out here? Because I am waiting for a response. What sort of response were you looking for? Gunshot. That one. Just a big
uh,
finish.
on the other hand, it's National Puppy Day. I feel like
That's good.
I
That's
feel like we
good.
need to lighten this up a little bit. And I'm
That
just like,
is a bad time to say that I actually have a phobia of dogs.
well,
I
I
actually
have a
do have a massive phobia of dogs.
I see. That's more understandable than my phobia of frogs. So I like you have my sympathy. Um, but tell
Frogs
me
may
more
freak me
about.
out, but dogs actually no. If a dog's near me, no, no, thank you. Frogs, I'll be irked, but dogs, no, no.
Really?
Restraining order, please. No, no, no. I don't. I don't want them jumping on me. I don't. I don't. Um,
I mean, my mom's the same way.
fair.
So like, I mean, but you know, she's from the Middle East, and that's a very cultural thing. Like the dogs you run into over there are there. It's not like the pugs and chihuahuas that we're used to
Mm,
more over here. So you know, I do know people who don't like dogs as much. So
mm.
unlike frogs, like I haven't met somebody else who has a phobia of frogs. I don't think
Most of
like
my
I
the thing is, literally all of my friends like dogs to a certain extent.
do. Hmm.
So like,
Yeah, you're the first person second person I met that's
like the thing is with my friends, like when they, when they see like a bunch of dogs that they're able to pet, they will pet those dogs, and I'm just
yeah.
like standing back, Just like I know these are good dogs. I know. I want to be able to pet them, but I'm terrified. I know they won't attack me,
Most of the
but
time.
I'm terrified. It's like I know it's irrational, but I'm still scared.
Well, and it's how humans compartmentalize.
Hmm.
Um, it's not just that they have to be rational. It's that you're putting all of your other
Yeah.
fears of like not having enough money to buy the
The-
legacy of time
yeah, just the
from Big
base
Finish,
level fears. The base level fears.
primal fears that every human has.
Yeah. Uh, like the thing is, one time, I was over at one of those friends' houses. We're all over, just having a wee little party, and it's just like, when we were walking to the house, it's just they were also walking the dog. I'm just like, and the dog's a small dog, and small dogs are more energetic, and they're the ones that scare me more. Energetic dogs scare me more. The bigger and more energetic the dog, the scarier they are. But but it's like the bigger the dog, scary-ish. More energetic, terrifying. When both collide, literally, I have nightmares about that. I actually do, of like these big scary dogs like biting me.
Mm.
I actually do have nightmares about dogs occasionally. So it's a real thing. I am genuinely scared of dogs. So they were walking their dog, and literally, I feel like if we didn't get to the house at the time we did, I would have passed out because I was
No.
that scared. I was just,
Wow.
I'm not good with dogs.
This, I mean, so obviously we're talking about like,
Normal
I'm
dogs.
not freaked out by Kermit the Frog or Dog Bolter, but
Well, I'm not freaked out by K9.
right,
But,
right. The
and
but
plus, when I see pictures of dogs online, they're cute.
right,
You
right.
know, it's just when I'm in when I'm in the same
When
vicinity
they
as a
could
dog.
bite your hand off, yeah.
It's like,
See, that's where, interestingly enough, the "It Takes You Away" episode, like, actually worked really well as a horror episode for me because I had my eyes shut at the end of that. Like, I could not. I would like
I
risk
can
like
see
a peek,
why.
and it was oh no 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 no
Not
no. It was
only are you scared of frogs,
terrifying.
it's just like a weird puppet frog. So
And
that's even
they're telling
worse.
me like, oh yeah, this
Uncanny Valley frog.
people tell me the CGI isn't very good. I don't
It's not
know.
even
I
why.
haven't seen that part of the episode. My eyes were glued shut. I couldn't know. And then
My
every
Twitter banner for long it might still be
oh,
that actually.
social media was
My
horrible
my
for
Twitter banner is still the frog.
no. Oh, I'm gonna have to look it up now. Oh gosh, I'm
It's
seeing it now. Oh, yes. I've just oh,
you, you
change
want
it.
me to
It
change it?
got big on my screen and everything. Oh,
I'll change it for you, Alex.
thank you.
For you.
Oh my
What
gosh.
should I change it to?
Um, you should
I'll change it to
change
penguins instead.
it to Frobisher or to the Ninth Doctor looking in the mirror.
Multiple Frobishers, like a whole squad of like a Frobisher army.
Yes.
There we go. Just a Frobisher army. Right, I've downloaded the image. Now I'm gonna upload it to my Twitter.
This is great.
This is just for you, Alex, because
Um,
I know what I'm like with dogs. And although I'm fine with pictures of dogs, you're not fine with frog imagery in general.
I
So
appreciate
I
that.
I I I I I, I somewhat understand you.
Mm,
So I've now just changed it to penguins.
okay, I'm looking at it now. You'll hear me if I scream if it still hasn't updated.
I swear I have changed it. you just might need to.
Okay, there we go. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, just
That is amazing.
yeah, just
Thank you
things just
for choosing.
you just need a penguin to sort out your life. You need a penguin or
An
20.
army of
Just an army of penguins.
Frobishers.
Just that'll be my temporary banner. I say temporary. I'll probably not change it for a year because I'll probably be too lazy. But
Until we have another live stream where I reveal that I've now
developed the fear.
I developed a fear of penguins. It turns out just what. Oh my gosh! Yes, Jean-Luc has tagged you with the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
just I'll need to Photoshop that actually. Right. So I'm gonna save the image. Right. Google Bob Ross. Just the Bob Ross hair. Actually, no, I'll do that later. But still, like,
So, I was in one of the D&D campaigns I'm in, as if I didn't seem geeky enough already. There were these like my brother was DMing, and there were these like tree creatures that like really like skinny roots and arms and like roots for feet, and they had just an eyeball on the top, and he like drew up images of what they looked like, and so we got one to join our party, and two of us are calling it Bob Moss. The others are too serious to call it Bob Moss, but we are referring to it as Bob Moss. So
yes.
It's now a thing.
Like, oddly enough, that day we went over to said friend's house and walking the dog thing, we were actually doing D&D sesh. We didn't finish it. We just decided, you know what, we need a break. This is going too far. Because, like, it starts out, we're all innocent, but turns out we're all drunk and we stole a lot of money. Right? That's how we started. And we ended off, like, still stealing the money, just killing the people that we stole the money from. And just like there was this guy who was in our path who was telling riddles, and because we couldn't figure out the riddle, we just decided let's just kill him. let's just brutally let's just brutally attack him. Like I decided my character should mace him in the face. like
and this is D&D, so you don't mean like mace, like spray, like
oh no, I mean like a literal like bike
medieval mace.
Medieval and then someone else just carved a penis in the guy's face.
That's
there you go. This is what my friends are like.
Wow.
I'm
we have discovered that we are prone to burning houses down. Just like not like abandoned houses, but like somebody used to live here and had like a really cool like piece of it was like a map of the astral plane, and it would have been really handy and really cool, and we did discover it there, but we were just like, nah, there's no gold in here, so let's just burn the place down along with this really valuable stuff.
I guess you could say you ghost lit it.
Yes, yeah.
Like you did a Ghostlight and burn it down.
Back to Doctor Who. I would love to have a like D&D based Doctor Who game.
I would love that as well,
because it would be something that would be really fun to play with. Like you would have it, you could do it on a live stream and like have guests in, and it's not like it could like actually allow for a much more Doctor Who-y game than just like let's play Monopoly, but it's got Doctor Who themes and places. It would
Hey,
actually
I
be
put a hotel on Gallifrey. I'm calling
yeah.
it the House of Longbarrow.
It's like that's fun, but at the end of the day, you need an audience who likes Monopoly versus like oh
So no one but me. Uh, I actually like the game of Monopoly. You know, it's just a fun game when I win.
if I were like good at the game, or if I didn't play with people who were better at me than the game all the time, then I think I would enjoy it. But I
Yeah.
just tend to lose at it.
So yeah. But so back to Doctor Who.
Back to Doctor Who. I mean, to be honest, we've kept on topic for quite a long time, so I
Yeah.
think we're doing well.
I mean, it's called Matt and Co Talk Who, not Matt and Co Talk board games. Like
Doctors and Dungeons. That's what we meant by D&D. Doctors and Dungeons.
Doctors and Daleks.
There we go.
Oddly enough, the first like monster that began with that began with the letter D, but I thought of was Dravens, not Daleks. I was just like,
Wow, you trying to
and it took me
show
a
off
few
your...
seconds to think. Oh wait, Daleks begin with D.
Instead, you're like going Galaxy 4, like
Just I've put a hotel on Galaxy 4. I've spent half the money on it. Someone proceeds to land on it. I get like 900. Like actually, that happened one time when I was playing Monopoly with my friends. Like I decided, screw it, I'm gonna spend half my money on a hotel. It's probably gonna bite me in the butt. I don't care. I want to have fun. But someone proceeded to land on it, and I nearly put them in debt.
wow.
£900 was mine. I didn't win the game eventually. I nearly won, but I was close.
So
But
here's the thing.
I won in my heart.
Here's the thing about pounds. So I make videos about Doctor Who. There's a couple occasions, whether I'm tweeting or writing a description or comments, where I need to use the pound sign, and because it's an American keyboard, there's not a thing that you press or even a shift and then
Oh
press
God, that would
button.
that I've
That
just
would be
I
simple.
never actually realized that American keyboards wouldn't have pound symbols.
Right. Is yours like the dollar sign is just shift 4
Yeah,
on the
it's shift
American
four on
keyboard.
mine as well.
Right, would be the pound. But in order to get a pound sign, I have to press, now track with me here because there's quite a lot to keep track of. The Alt key and then the number code 0163. And then I get the pound sign.
Okay, I just
So
have
I
to
have
press
to
shift
hit
3 for me.
I have to hit like it's like when you go through the grocery store and they're like, "Oh, this is broccoli. I'm going to put in like a 5-digit code to tell the computer what it is per broccoli." But like every time I want to press like do a pound sign.
Eat your broccoli, kids. It's money. I mean, it's green after all.
It's living vegetables aren't a thing that have been made scary in Doctor Who. Like plants, yes. Seeds of Doom.
Terrible. I
Uh,
want an evil carrot.
um,
Make
I
an
would
evil carrot.
I like a raw carrot, but boiled carrots, no way. Mm-mm.
Actually, I'm trying to think. Would vervoids count as a vegetable, or would they just count as something that you'd need to send? Actually, no. Let's count them with Doctor Who monsters that really shouldn't be designed that way for obvious reasons. So Alpha Centauri, vervoids.
See, what puppet strings and being like seen in Doctor Who are just some of the, you know, like a lot of people are like, they love the classic series for like pretty much every reason, but like they I think the classic series kind of gets a bit of a pass in that, like, people say that, like, well, the effects, the cheesy effects are part of the allure, which I'm like, okay, that's great, I agree, but then don't go bashing the new series for having terrible effects, you know? Like, be fair with the reasons you like or dislike the show.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's like, yeah, okay, so if the classic series gets a free pass on bad effects being part of the allure, then so should the new series. But in the it's I'm glad that I can there are other Doctor Who fans out there who have like spreadsheets and timelines like I do. Because I love a good Doctor Who spreadsheet. And
Yeah.
I when I did the video about, like, you know, a disturbing trend in Doctor Who, and like we're getting less of it, and actually looking at how much less and proportionally what we're getting. Uh,
Yeah.
I thought that would be a really safe message for, like, to say, I want more Doctor Who, and we're getting less of it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure we could all. I thought we could all agree that that we want more Doctor Who. But I think
But some people.
some people seem to think that I was saying, "Give me more Doctor Who. I don't care what the quality of it is, and I don't care if the cast and crew have to, like, go mentally insane in order to do it." And it's like,
They
that's
did
not
it in
what
the
I'm doing.
60s and it was fine.
It's like, that's not
So
what I'm.
why can't they do it?
See, see, what I want is more quality Doctor Who, and I believe that it is possible to get that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's this impossible enigma that can't be done by the British people. Like, it's
Yeah.
it is possible.
I feel like the rate at which we're getting Doctor Who, if we're assuming that they're using the same amount of time to produce Series 12 as they are Series 11, but they're just starting after Series 11 aired, I think that's fine. I honestly
So
don't mind it if it's like very early 2020, like we're getting Series 12, because it just means that they just gave themselves enough time to hear what people thought of Series 11 so they could improve upon it. You know.
see, here's the thing. I don't want to have, like, it's possible to use to get feedback from not the latest the previous season, but the previous 2 seasons. Um, and so I just don't like having a year between seasons, like a year off. Just that seems,
Yeah.
I think we can do better than that.
Yeah.
But with, like, so here's the thing. All of the objections that I found with, like, having more Doctor Who episodes being made were like, oh, but the writing would decrease. And
Well, it's
to what all,
hard to
like,
say.
it wasn't like I didn't come across as many objections that were fixed by having less Doctor Who episodes. Like, proportionately, it felt like we got the same amount of good, average, and bad episodes with a 10-episode season as we did with a 13, if
Some might
not.
say less.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say less.
Like
Like, the fact
I
that we see Series 3, the last half of Series 3 was absolutely brilliant. The last half of Series 4, absolutely
I would
brilliant. The most
agree
of
with
Series
those
4.
statements, but like not totally because most of the last half of both seasons are actually amazing. Like some of the best
Right.
two ever, I would say. So I would
Oh,
say, although I don't agree with you totally with those statements, the point still stands.
right. Like, it is possible, and here's where I'm like, why we should be investing more, I think, in the writing of the show
Yeah,
than perhaps the anamorphic lenses, or, you know, trips to really cool locations. Like,
because although
if
those are good,
if we can't get 10
yeah,
incredible Rosas and Demons of the Punjab, and or Genesis of the Daleks, or Chaos, if we can't get 10 episodes that are really good, or at the very least not like meh or even outright bad, then I don't think we're putting enough of the budget into the writing of the show.
yeah.
Um, and I think
Although
that
I feel like Series 11 doesn't have that necessary problem. I feel like, although it's kinda, because the thing is, the 5 episodes that were written by other writers were the 5 best ones.
oh, no, 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 we don't think about that.
um,
some of them weren't some of them co-written?
One of them was co-written, and that was Rosa.
Okay, that must be what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but the thing is, that
I
was
mean,
co-written by like Chris Chibnall and Mallory Blackman. Who
I'm sort of.
I was surprised we actually got something really serious from Mallory Blackman because she's like a children's author. So last time we had a children's author, it was Frank Cottrell Boyce. So
my opinion on The Woman Who Fell to Earth is perhaps a little bit jaded because I have seen it 13
times in a row.
12 times in one day, and then like once the like 2 days before. I would not suggest that even with a good episode or versus an okay episode. Yeah. So
I wouldn't even watch
that episode
13 times.
Whatever you think of an episode, I don't think it's worth watching it 13 times in a row, like back to back. That's just
you'll get tired of it. You'll never want to watch it again.
Oh my gosh!
Like, but Woman Who Fell to Earth, good one. It was good. Ghost Monument, it's good. I can't say it's not good, but it has literally. My review was literally just criticisms, like for the whole thing, and then I'm like, it's a 7 out of 10. I stand by that, but it's like my review does not seem like it should be a 7 out of 10. But
I mean, I enjoyed it.
7 out of 10. There's just not much I can say on the positive aspect other than it's.
I think the location, like the visual look of it, was really cool.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, there was speaking of the comics again, there was a comic where with the Fourth Doctor, Dave Gibbons did the artwork, and it was like a space race. There were like spaceships that were like racing, and it was just this incredible concept because it was something that if you have to visually show it in Doctor Who, like the budget would have been through the roof, but because it was comics, you can do so much more.
That reminds me of like Doctor and the Iron Legion, that it just can't work on television. I mean, it can work on television in terms of like writing, but it can't work.
If you have like the Game of Thrones budget, you know, it can
if
work.
If you have a Game of Thrones budget, you might.
So like the Ghost Monument reminded me of those sort of race episodes where it's like it's cool to have an idea that, like, you know, as fun as there's a race going on and we end up in the middle of it and something goes wrong. But I do agree that like it didn't really feel like it went places.
Yeah.
So Rosa, obviously, that's just brilliant. 10 out of 10. Arachnids in the UK.
I think that's the worst one, thinking about it, because it's like, although I feel like it was probably like a more, like on first watch, I was just / only watch, come to think of it. Like, I was thinking, I've not rewatched all of Series 11. I've only really rewatched the ones I had to review and the Witchfinders, and that's it. Those are the only ones I've rewatched.
I rewatched The Woman Who Fell to Earth like 12 times, so that kind of made me think like, oh, I don't want to rewatch Series 11, but I definitely think once I get the DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah. I've got the Steelbook. And that's how I watched the Witchfinders, actually, like when I rewatched it. But yeah, like Rosa, good. Arachnids in the UK. It's like I think the thing is not. I think people were a bit like, yeah, Arachnids in the UK was good when they first saw it, and then when Tsuranga Conundrum aired, they were like, what is this? But then as time went on, they were like, actually, they're about the same level.
Yeah, it's definitely not. Well, it's in my bottom 5.
It's in my bottom 5 of 13th Doctor stories.
It's just tell me Rosa's not in your bottom 5, please.
If you mean top 1, then yes.
Yep.
It's my favorite 13th Doctor story at the moment.
The Tsuranga Conundrum for me was brilliant up until any scenes with the Pating. that just sort of fell flat for me.
Fair enough. I mean, not everyone. It's not for everyone, I guess.
I
I
mean,
say it as if I like it. I mean, I don't like it, but like, I don't hate it.
it's one of those things where it's like, if it had been in like Paradise Towers or a Seventh Doctor episode or an episode where it's
if the Pating was a classic Doctor's New Monsters Volume 3 question mark?
yes,
Like 7th Doctor Pating episode.
Seventh Doctor, Frobisher, Pating.
Yes.
The Ninth Doctor makes cameos just to check mirrors for his ears.
It's just like, oh, daughter of mine, like in a 5th Doctor story, and then it's just like, oh, the 9th Doctor's there just checking his ears. He's like, oh, who's that girl? Who's that girl?
Demons of the Punjab, we've already talked about. It's
I got mentioned in DWM for that.
Really?
Yeah, I actually submitted like a mini review to DWM.
No way.
And they mentioned it, and they didn't edit it at all. And I basically said it's good. It's really good. Apart from the fact that the aliens had to be in it, because although I feel like Demons of the Punjab, you didn't. It worked even with the aliens. The aliens didn't feel too intrusive. They didn't need to be there either. I feel like it would have made a much better experience if it was just the human aspect instead of, oh, it could be aliens. It's not aliens. It's terrible people. That's what it is. Can't it just be terrible people? Do aliens have to be everywhere in history? Are the conspiracy theorists right? Did the aliens build the pyramids?
How else do the pyramids get into every episode? Are you going to tell me that the Pyramids of Mars is not one of the best 4th Doctor episodes? Is that what you're saying?
It's not actually. Got the best villain.
No, you're right. With the Robots of Death and City of Death exist, as well as the Ribos operation. So there you go. That's all you really need.
I guess I just didn't get. I guess it just didn't click with me. Pyramids of Mars. Sutek definitely did click with me, but it's like, oh, you've got a great villain. Do you know what else has a great villain? I'm trying to think of not such a great Doctor Who story with a good villain.
The Happiness Patrol, that has a great villain.
But that's a great story.
I want to do a cosplay of that. Like, that's something you just don't see. It would be amazing. And you could hand out candy. Kerblam seems like a divisive episode. Like, you either love it or you hate it.
But people who hate it for the message. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care about a message. It's like when if I agree with a political message, it makes an episode better. But when I don't, I just stop caring. Unless if I hate the episode anyway, in which case I'll use it to like add more insult to injury. Kill the moon.
What did you think of the CGI? Because when watching the episode, I was like, wow, those scenes on the conveyor belt, first off, they reminded me of Monsters, Inc. But second off, which was a good thing for me. But my brother...
I forgot it was even CGI, to be honest.
I thought it was pretty good, but some other people were like, the CGI wasn't great in those scenes, but I was like, I didn't notice that.
It's a BBC TV show. Of course it's not going to be great.
Yeah, like give it more of a budget, please. I like the Amazon-esque setting just because I'm addicted to Amazon.
Amazon accidentally leaked an episode after. I think they accidentally leaked the Witchfinders early, like after Kablam aired. It's just like, Amazon, eat this. Just like Kablam. It's just like, okay, oops, your episode's leaked.
The Witchfinders was. Alan Cumming was hilarious.
Yes. The Witchfinders is an interesting one for me.
This season, The Witchfinders, Kerblam, it takes you away. Like, the overall flavor of what Series 11 did, I think was quite unique.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like something that had come before. So, like, kudos for that.
Mm-hmm.
Also didn't have a Dalek episode, which I'm always sad when the Daleks aren't in Doctor Who, but like I only ever want like good Dalek episodes. So
Bless you.
thank you.
Should be warming up the bottom's really hot.
All right. But yeah, so whether or not I think Dalek should come back in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Not perhaps every season, most seasons, and if it's well done.
I honestly have like a good idea for a Dalek story.
Oh, do tell.
But, well, basically, I saw off Dimmy Looming on Twitter, who, I mean, she said that it was her friend's idea, but like basically, have a Soul Dalek land in 21st century Britain, right?
Okay.
And seeing as how extreme right wing politics is scarily rising,
Mm-hmm.
let's face it, if a Dalek landed in like London and then someone who was very right wing, like let's say someone who idolizes someone like Ben Shapiro or like what have you, like they would idolize that Dalek.
Oh, that's just.
Yeah, if I ran Doctor Who, I would make it scarily real, but also very much a sci-fi show. Like, here's the thing, because if I ran Doctor Who, I would bring back the pure historical like that. Like, it's back.
First off, I'm seeing Frobisher back on the show.
No, well, you see, no, but also no modern day companion. Because do you know what? Does this like I like one of my friends like a few years ago said, "Oh, a modern day companion just shows that anyone can be a companion." I'm like, but surely having a companion be from the future or from the past or whatever, like having every companion be from a different background shows that more. Because anyone can be a companion, but only people from modern day Earth are companions. So not anyone, just anyone who is from Earth.
Only
like,
British females who are from modern day can be companions.
Yeah, only British females.
But so
yeah,
writing companions is an interesting enigma because their role has always been help the audience understand what the heck the Doctor's doing. I don't think that the companion should ever be that obvious. I think what they are asking or saying should be accomplishing that job, but it shouldn't be like, "Where are we going, Doctor? What are you doing with that Sonic, Doctor?" It shouldn't be that obvious.
Can I just say, if I ran Doctor Who, the sonic screwdriver would be gone. It's gotten to the point where I'm like, no, I don't want it anymore. I don't care how much backlash I get. I'll just get rid of it.
You'd bring it back every episode just so you could destroy it in a different way. I built a new Sonic, and
it's gotten to the point where even that I wouldn't want. I just want it gone for good. It's just like every single series. I hope they just use it less and less, but they just use it more and more.
You're like how Russell T Davies named the last episode of his reign "The End of Time," and Stephen Moffat had to pick up the pieces after that. You would just your last episode as showrunner would just be the end of the sonic screwdriver.
Oh, just I'm not a fan of End of Time. Just
I like the episode, but once again, I don't like it necessarily for the story. Like I see the faults in it. I like it for the people I watched it with and the experience I had first watching it. I mean,
fair enough.
That episode blew me away as like a 13-year-old watching it with like at the time it was just my dad and siblings who were into it, who got my mom into it around season 7. So like it just the four of us watching it, I absolutely loved it. And like there are enough epic moments in it for it to be like a blows you away. But looking back, it's like, are we ever gonna get past like John? Like I love John Sim as the master, but the End of Time is not helping him You know, it's like
I find
seeing him
that with his master, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like people are either more forgiving towards his first story or End of Time. It's never.
I prefer his
It's either
first story.
or both. People can be forgiving to both, but I think they're wrong. But you know what I mean. Like, it's just like people are more forgiving. I mean, with End of Time, he's a bit more crazy, but it's like you're like, well, he at least he wasn't so bad in series 3. He's just unbearable in this. Or people are like, well, he's actually meant to be insane in this, but he's not meant to be insane in series 3. He's still just meant to be the normal master. And I'm just like, why not just hate both and enjoy series 10? That way, you get to enjoy the true master. It's like I joke about these things, but I'm just like the thing is I don't want it to sound like, oh, your opinion's wrong, my opinion is right. We all have our own opinions.
That's entirely politics.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to sound like a Doctor Who politician. Although I do want to run the show and do it my way one day. I just want Doctor Who to.
What's that
I
song?
was literally about to say I want Doctor Who to be good again, and then I realized that sounds a bit too similar to something. That sounds way too similar to something else. Just not gonna get into that kettle of fish.
There's a fish percolator. Do you not get that reference?
No.
It's okay. You don't need to.
Like
it's
like
it's going to be that part of the live stream that I tell the 2 people I know who get that reference to go to like go this many hours and this many minutes of the live stream and you will find a reference here. But
yeah. Like but yeah. I mean, there's plenty of things I would do if I ran Doctor Who. Not going to get into them here because it's almost as if I'm going to be making a video of that at some point this year.
I imagine the first thing you would do would be to hire me to play the Doctor. Of course. I mean, you don't even need to answer that question because it goes without saying. So
I mean, I would, but you see, the thing is,
I would bribe you or threaten you.
The thing is, although I would try and get the best actor for the job, like for some reason, every actor I think could do well just so happens to not be white. So, even if I try and think, okay, what woman would be good? It's almost as if I'm imagining my doctor to be black for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not against this. I'm very for it. I'm liking this idea.
If I were to be turned down for the role of the Doctor, I would prefer it to be an area where I just couldn't compete versus like, no, we just prefer another white male over you, which I totally would understand, but you get what
I mean. I'll get the right person for the job, man, woman, black, white, gay, straight, whatever.
Could you get an alien for the job?
Huh?
Like, could you like think outside the box, please? Like get an alien for the job? Like discover them and then get them to play the Doctor?
I'll just get a literal ant. a literal ant as the Doctor.
See. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking outside the box.
How many episodes does your season have? Because mine would have like 50. One for each year of the show.
just base it on each season.
This is going to be an homage to this season. And this is going to be
and then there's the wilderness years. This is going to be an homage to this area of the Virgin New Adventures. Oh, this one's going to be based on this era of Big Finish. This one's going to be the TV movie.
How did you not get my super tiny reference?
Yeah. For me, 16 episodes.
I like it.
50 minutes long each.
I like it.
No more, no less. All 2-parters.
Yes. Sign me up. Where do I vote?
You vote by getting me in charge.
Oh.
Try and get me in charge. Like, all two-parters, so the stories have room to breathe. Right?
Mhm.
And each two-parter would be very different. And because it could be my only chance for the show, because who knows, people might not actually like good television. I mean, people, I can't say that. I can't say,
Mm.
I can't say people liked insert
Live
era
stream.
here
It's a
without
live
insulting
stream.
someone.
You can't take it back.
I'm gonna stop. I'm just not gonna say what era I was gonna. I don't even know what era I was gonna say, but
No.
I'll just say some people like.
What type of companion?
Huh?
What type of companion? Other than
Future.
Frobisher. That's
Future. Like, imagine. Okay, if the companion. Okay, if the Doctor is male, then how about like a female version of Stephen?
Oh.
Except like
You meant that archetype, not like Peter Purvis in a wig, you know.
I mean, it could be Peter Purvis again. I'd love that, but like no. But you know,
Oh.
like, same sort of background, but just not the like how Clara's a teacher and we've already had teachers.
Yeah.
Well, this person can just be a pilot, but I mean, we've already had Stephen, but like Stephen was just on a prison. He was just in a prison. But this person, who I'm trying to figure out, like, what sort of name they could have, I don't know. I'll figure it out by the time I make the video.
Are you thinking human or alien?
I'm thinking human, just to show that. But like,
You know what I would love?
what?
A robot companion who wants to be human. And essentially Data on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah, that would work as a companion.
I think that would be really sweet.
What Chameleon should have been, instead of
Mm.
less than nothing. Like, I'm known for my views on Clara, but even I can admit when Clara I can admit she's not the worst companion ever. Because Chameleon, like, I want to like Chameleon, but he's like he's Paradise Towers the companion, except 10 times worse.
Oh, okay.
I
Yep.
want to like you. You've got all the hallmarks of you've got all the reasons why I would like you. But you do it so badly. Like, oh, shape-shifting alien robot, that's good. Just do nothing with you.
You know, it's yeah. There was potential there. Like they didn't even have to bring in that costume ever again.
It's not
Just
a costume. It's not even a costume. It was an actual robot.
Oh, fair enough.
It was that, and the thing is, it was a good idea, or it was an interesting idea. Just have a robot play a robot. Then the person who designed the
hugely
robot,
ahead of its time.
I mean, the person whose job it was to operate the robot, who was the only person that could operate the robot, right? The person who designed it, the person who had to operate it, sort of died.
Sort of.
But it just sort of died, so I couldn't use it.
Between mostly dead.
It's only mostly dead. I'm sure he had a happy life, so he's probably alive on the inside, but he was definitely dead on the outside, so
Oh, look, a change of subject. See, Chameleon as like I agree. Like I really did want him to work as a companion. A very cool idea.
Yeah.
But again, I think a shifting companion is almost even more overpowered than a sonic screwdriver. It's like, let's just, impersonate the master, give a couple orders as the master, and boom, you're
both
fine.
strong.
you're through. You know.
Bob Holmes is your uncle, and you're done.
Oh, good Doctor Who pun. It's so lovely. I mean, you know who I want to come back. First off, my series arc villain would be the Candyman.
I would not have a series arc.
I get
I would
that
have
argument.
character arcs.
That argument is valid, perhaps in every other case, other than it's the Candyman. So he's in every episode.
He's in every episode.
He's in every episode. And
like,
each episode ends with like a different type of soda gluing his feet to the floor, and it's like, oh! You know. And then the companion for me would be Wilfred Mott.
When he was younger, probably, because
and
I mean, you try and get Bernard Cribbins, but you know, unfortunately he is very old. So
yeah, a character like that, some sort of comedic actor with comedic prowess.
So you just turned Doctor Who into a comedy. I would turn it into like. I would basically just turn it into Game of Thrones.
I would turn it, and there we go. I want Rowan Atkinson as the Doctor, but like not as like the Rowan Atkinson we saw in said episode that we both know what we're talking about, but can't remember the title. I want like Mr. Bean as the Doctor, like 100%. Like he is the Jar Jar Binks on the Star Wars battlefield, where he's like somehow surviving and also like saving the day. He would be the one who like accidentally pushes a Dalek out a window, you know? Like he would trip, bump into a Dalek, the Dalek goes right out the window. And then like he saved the day. Or like he gets into an arm wrestling match with Davros, and like they accidentally bump off the light support switch, or you know.
Okay,
like, he would be bumbling around the universe and like accidentally saving the day everywhere he went. He would be fighting against the Candyman. Each episode would have a past Doctor making a cameo as some sort of eccentric character.
And the finale reveals that it was all a dream.
That's if you're still showrunner. That's like if I were the head writer, but you were like the showrunner. You're like, Alex can do whatever he wants, because it'll bring in viewers. Because each trailer will be so ridiculous, people will be like, I hate to watch this, but I'll watch it anyway. So it turns out we get paid anyway, and then you can be like, oh, it's all a dream, and save the day at the end. Like I'm down for this.
Whilst my Doctor would just basically be like Paul McGann again, because
I hope it would be Paul McGann. Hello, he hasn't aged a day.
Okay, he has aged a day. Just
okay, but maybe like a week. But like still,
yeah, just a week. Just
amazing.
Yeah,
just a week.
A hard week, but like
you know.
But that's literally like
it would be Paul. I mean, Paul McGann would be incredible.
Yeah, but like I want my Doctor to be like the Eighth Doctor if he was darker. I mean, figuratively speaking, but knowing everyone I picture in that role literally as well.
It's hard to get darker than audio, you know? Like there's just no light, no visuals. So
but you see,
No, I don't. That's the problem. I don't see.
Well, it's hard to get darker, but you see when the actor is. I don't know if I can make this joke.
If you're wondering about whether you can get away with it, don't do it.
Probably not. No, but you. I mean, it's like I don't want to end up like Shane Dawson in a few years. You know, saying something and then everyone will take it the wrong way in a few years' time. It's not what I want to end up as.
Mm.
But you know.
Let's see.
But yeah.
Would you have the Daleks back? Did I ask this one?
I'm not sure if they would appear in the first series or not. Probably. I'd probably need something to be exciting in the finale. So probably.
I would bring back Davros, have some sort of Civil War Dalek storyline, but Davros would totally be back. The Centaurans would be back, and they would be scary. Like, I love a comedic Strax character as much as the next guy, but I want Centaurans back, and I want them like the best of the Klingons in Star Trek, like scary. Like, they need to be scary again.
So there was an albino Klingon in Discovery. So would there be an albino Centauran?
No, but there would be a Centauran who eats French fries, and unironically discovers that he's become a cannibal.
Oh my god! So your version of Doctor Who would be season 24 of the TV show.
For every shot of the TARDIS console room, there's just a Centauran in the corner, like eating.
So you're Doctor Who
already. These are brilliant ideas. I'm gonna look up a tweet I did that was it was great. It was great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would basically try and have like I'd try and make it. I mean, I've got a somewhat similar mentality to like my 100 episodes tag.
Yeah, which was cruel. Let me just say, 100 stories. That is hard enough. That would have been realistic.
100 episodes. I
of Tomb of the Cybermen. I want to save, and no matter what I do, I feel like a horrible person.
I like torturing myself and others. But yeah, I have a similar mentality with just like what I would do with Doctor Who. Which is okay, so I've only got one shot. I've got to make it the way I want it to be, i.e. good, and just all my ideas to like make things fresh. But also, I want it to be a series where if you don't know what Doctor Who is, you will by the end of this. So I would have like a pure historical, I'd have a sci-fi, I'd have a Ghostlight, essentially. Although I don't think I would even bother bringing up Gallifrey.
No, why? I mean, well, other than to like have an episode set on Gallifrey.
No, I would not.
Why
not? Okay, there's one thing that I would do.
It's incredible. We're sick of hearing about Gallifrey or never finding it, but episodes on Gallifrey are totally downplayed.
You see, when classic Doctor Who started doing episodes on Gallifrey, it made the show worse off as a whole.
What? Deadly Assassin much?
It's good, but like now we know everything about the Doctor's people.
Not everything.
Okay, so when I hear Doctor Who as a question, I do not want an answer.
Yeah,
that's the name of the show. But when you watch Deadly Assassin, you're getting an answer.
Why?
Because who is the Doctor? Oh, he's just this bloke from this like rich aristocratic background.
I mean, we knew that.
Got presidential elections. Yeah, well, we knew that, but like, still, we're knowing too much. Deadly Assassin, we know too much. It's a good story, so I'm not annoyed with it. But it's not like Invasion of Time.
See some of that, yeah. So, like, my pitch for a Candyman episode is that.
You mean a Candyman series?
Well, yes, but one of the episodes in it would be set on present day Valentine's Day. It's like the day before Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah,
and
I already
there's a crazed man in the sewers who like knocks on Unit's door, like, and is he's outside it, they don't let him in, and he's just raving crazily about like people are gonna die. There's gonna be these murders at this time. You got to believe me. And they're like, yeah, just get out of here. And that crazy person would be played by Sylvester McCoy. And then a couple days later, so this would have happened a couple days before Valentine's Day, like those murders come true. And so all of a sudden, unit realizes, oh boy, there's something more to this than what we thought. They call in the Doctor and the TARDIS team, and it's up to them to stop the Candyman before he poisons all of Britain or the world. Let's keep it small. It could be that current town with poisonous candy that everybody's buying up to give to their loved ones on Valentine's Day. So it's up to them to save the day. There you go. It's the that would be Candyman 101. You get an appearance from Sylvester McCoy. You get it's actually a logical flow of like, okay, you're poison. It's the Candyman. He would poison candy. People would buy the candy. That could be a potential problem,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. I mean, the Candyman just has so much potential, And I would want more like slapstick scenes, like I Love Lucy, like the conveyor belt scene where they're like eating up the candy because it goes through. Like that would be the kind of slapstick humor that you just I think we have lost in Doctor Who. Like classic Doctor Who has attempted humor before, and then never attempted it again, which might give you some clues there as to whether or not it's a good idea. But I would love more slapstick comedy, tons of puns. But at this point, I'm making Doctor Who for myself, not for other people.
You see, I feel like the ideas I would bring to it could actually work for other people as well. That's the thing. But I'm like I mean, these are things that I feel like would make Doctor Who good, but I'm not doing it just for myself.
Well, and then now we're getting into like
philosophical
and this is where I don't do a lot of reviews on my channel. I don't think I've done that many at all. And the reason I do is because generally I want people to watch my videos and then leave feeling better than when they started watching my videos. I'm not sure if I'm succeeding at all, but that is one of the goals. So with the review, I don't really get the point, because if we're both talking about City of Death and how incredible it is, we agree on City of Death. Like, we've had a good time, but me just telling you in a video, like right now we're having a conversation live. Me just telling you in a video how good City of Death is, I'm preaching to the choir. You already know. I've essentially wasted your time. I may have made you feel a little bit better by seeing that somebody else has agreed. But the other option is that I would be making a video for somebody who absolutely hates City of Death, thinks it's the most overrated Doctor Who episode. They live in Paris, so that just looks like the most normal, boring place to film a Doctor Who episode ever. They hate, they're pacifists, so the fact that they win the episode by Duggan punching somebody, just totally, the messaging is just off for them, and they hate City of Death.
Despite the fact that Duggan punching people is seen as a bad thing for most of the episode until it's convenient.
Right. So wishy-washy morals, they say no to that. And so they watch my video, and I'm just making them feel bad because I'm going on and on about how great the episode is.
Yeah.
And so to me, it seems like having the, like, we need a rating out of 10 for every single episode of Doctor Who, and that's what's expected of a WhoTuber, is like, just in the process of rating an episode 1 out of 10, that is so and not opinionated, but subjective on so many accounts. Like when you say, "Oh, I think the Doctor Who episode is 10 out of 10." I mean, what are you talking? Well, let's go with 7 out of 10. What does that mean? Are you taking the different areas of production, like the writing, the music composition, the camera angles, the costume design, the set design, the acting, the script editing, the overall emotional impact of the episode? Are you judging all of those areas separately, rating them out of 10, and then averaging out? Or are you just trying to say, this episode is good, that's my opinion, and this is like, either you agree with it or you're wrong? Like, that's where, and then people insert 0.5s into the rating system. So it's like, that just shows the inefficiency of it. It's like it's not an 8, but it's also not a 6. I'm sorry, it's not an 8, but it's also not a 7.
Yeah.
7.5, and it begins to show that maybe the system isn't as helpful as we
Well,
thought.
I feel like it would be solved if we just didn't do it out of 10 and we did it out of 12. That would be more efficient, but still, the point still stands.
People would still like with the rating out of 10. What you end up getting is this, like, nobody wants to use 10 that often
Mhm.
because you can't have anything better than a 10. And to
Yeah.
me, if something is a 10, if you have an entire season worth of 10s, then quit grading on a curve and saying that, oh, well, this is the worst episode of the John Pertwee era,
Yeah.
without realizing that that actually is rated still at like an 8 out of 10, you know? Like,
Yeah, like, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's fine to say something's the worst of something, but it's still
right.
really good, you know.
It's
But
just giving with that perspective, you know.
yeah,
And like getting beyond, I want to more, I guess, in-depth discourse about Doctor Who versus I love this episode or I hate this episode, or like this episode is brilliant or this episode is trash. It's like, tell me, what did you like about the episode? Because there's so many episodes where the writing is great, but almost every Doctor Who episode could do with some form of editing. I know you've written scripts and probably skits before, plenty of essays, I'm sure.
yeah,
You know that the editing is like a continual process. Like, there's
yeah,
an exponential curve of like perhaps how much better you can get by editing it, but the
yeah,
editing only really stops when you say, okay, I'm going to publish this now. I'm
yeah,
gonna hit upload. I'm gonna publish it. So every Doctor Who episode, I think, could do with some little tweaks of being better. Like even Genesis of the Daleks. You know, heaven forbid we should say anything negative about that, but did it really need all 6 parts? Were there some parts where they were running back and forth up and down the halls? I think there were. It could, you know, maybe there could be ways that we could continue to edit every episode and improve. So,
mm,
was it the writing that you liked? Was it the effects? Was it the slapstick humor? Was it the people who you were watching the episode with? I think there's so much to talk about an episode beyond what we rated out of 10 that I guess that's
yeah,
what stops me from making more reviews. Um, because like, and again, just splitting Doctor Who up into classic Doctor Who and new Doctor Who is a very arbitrary
yeah,
number, especially when you consider how large like new Doctor Who has gotten. There are now multiple eras of new Doctor Who, which is just crazy to think about.
yeah,
Because 2005 feels like yesterday. And as with classic Doctor Who, like there are many people who would probably just gladly plant themselves down in the 7 years that Tom Baker was the Doctor, or maybe even just the Philip Hinchcliffe era, and say this is what the real Doctor Who is. Everybody else can go away.
I mean,
So
I personally feel like there's multiple like instances where it's like this is what Doctor Who should be like. There's like because there's no one era that I feel like, oh, this is what Doctor Who should be like, because the show changes so much, and I feel like it's a bit silly to assign like this is what it should be, and I feel like if you're doing that, that's probably because you have great nostalgia for it, and you're like, oh, but show doesn't do anything like this anymore, and it should. Just but I feel like it's because I've had a unique experience with Doctor Who where I've grown up with both like modern and classic Who. And I've seen the show evolve, and I'm just like, well, I enjoy it for what I enjoy it for what the show is, and I guess that's why I'm not really someone that
Mm.
explores the Pertwee era specifically, because I'm like, well, it's a show. The TARDIS is the main
Oh yeah.
point of the show, and when you get rid of that, it becomes a little less interesting. But at least with the Pertwee era, it's like it did something different, and it showed
Mm.
it sort of developed a new type of story. I mean, sure, like invasion of Earth stories have been a thing in the past, like the invasion,
Right.
but like Pertwee era popularized that, so at least it contributed something.
Right. And I think, and you might you know, as a Doctor Who YouTuber as well, like
Mhm.
when you get that, you know, the episode that gets the most views or that people like the most, that sort of becomes a, like, we like this, make more. And if you make more of that enough, then people start saying, this isn't as good as the original, like, do something different. And so it's
Timeline
that
videos.
balance. It's that
Like a
balance,
most viewed video on the channel.
with like comic book adaptations and then let's take the MCU as an example. Like,
Yeah.
people are like, be faithful to the comics, but then like do something creative. Like, don't just remake the comics because we have the comics. You know, it's sort of this losing battle of, you've got
Yeah.
made something that's good. How do you move forward with being faithful to the original without pointlessly remaking it and then just failing because it didn't come first? So I think that's the battle that Doctor Who, if you just listen to the, oh, this era was the best, do more of this, then you wouldn't have had the successes or creativity that, like, the Pertwee era essentially, like, if you asked any Doctor Who fan, what is Doctor Who without the TARDIS, you would say like a pretty lame, like, not Doctor Who. But here's the Pertwee era.
And that's what many
Keep
people consider Doctor Who.
Right, keeping the show like alive for all those years and not featuring the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Blink is an episode that doesn't even have, like, barely has the Doctor in it, and yet it's brought so many people into Doctor Who. Like, you can't
Yeah.
fault it for that. So it's like, sometimes it's doing those creative things that the fans wouldn't ever have suggested is what makes the best Doctor Who. So that's where it's like, taking risks still has to be a thing.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know if I had a real point, but I'll stop there before I ramble.
Yeah. I feel like, I mean, if I were showrunner, of course, like, my first series would sort of play it safe, but it would be, I'd try and make it as creative as possible.
Mm.
And then I'd run more risks. Like, I mean, of course, I would do crazy things like get rid of the sonic screwdriver and all that. And I would also do something equally as crazy, possibly in my first series, like,
Bring back the Candyman.
no, something even more crazy.
Oh, what?
Uh, right. So, like, companion just wonders, hey, so Doctor, like, I've been wondering about this for a little while, and you've not really spoken about where you come from, and what, where do you come from? Like, where are you born or something like that? It's like, the Doctor's like, well, you're the first person in a while I can really explain this to, because, you see, I keep explaining to my companions that I was born, but it's only because their primitive 21st century minds cannot handle the concept of looms.
I'm
Uh-huh.
back. I'm back.
Hello?
Hi. Hello.
Hello? Oh, you just cut out.
Yes. Yes. Sorry. My computer went to sleep and, like, just shut down all of a sudden. You were saying you were going to do something crazier than bringing back the Candyman, and I was.
I would basically, in just a short line of dialogue where it's just like, "Oh, Doctor, where'd you come from?" I would just canonize the looms. I would actually do it.
You know why the Fourth Doctor wore such a long scarf? Well, you know, because the looms, man. It's just
just looms. I mean, looms before wombs, am I right?
the most wonderfully weird things have come out of this live stream today.
Looms before wombs.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, like, but
Would you
yeah.
canonize the Doctor and Master being brothers? It's kind of weird post Missy. Okay, never mind. Don't answer that.
So, but my answer would be no, because Actually, yeah, Doctor Who probably wouldn't be like Game of Thrones under me. It wouldn't, because of why. If I wanted it to be Game of Thrones, then I would canonize it.
See, how would you design the TARDIS? Because I have an idea of how I would design the TARDIS.
Well,
That's unless you would ditch the
my
TARDIS
idea-
entirely, have them traveling like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. With, you know, I don't know how they travel there.
Do you know how I would design it? Just bring back the Capaldi one and just make it look more classic, and then done. Literally,
Okay.
like the Capaldi one is like, okay, so how do we make the TARDIS look better than anything ever? Make it the Capaldi one. Right, how can we improve this? I don't know. So Chris Chibnall decided, how about we go, instead of using the best TARDIS ever made, we make the worst one ever made.
Well, now come on.
I
You gotta love the biscuit dispenser. That's a stroke of genius.
I mean, I love to hate it.
No, you love to eat it. It's biscuits. You don't hate biscuits. You eat them.
Things are good. I'll grant you that.
Here's what I would do. Make it okay. So first off, my favorite on-screen TARDIS design is the Matt Smith Series 5 one. Like, I love the colors, the fact that there was a swing, there was different layers, the lights, the craziness that was going. I loved it, every inch of it. What I would do is add in, like, make it a musical TARDIS. Like, instead of like typing on, a typewriter or a keyboard to put in coordinates, you would have to play a certain tune. And
So
you would have
instead
like
of
a keyboard here.
you use a keyboard.
It's a keyboard. Wow, that I don't know why I didn't phrase it that way, but you would type it in on a keyboard. You could have,
like a saxophone.
Right. You could have guitars, all sorts of instruments, drums, hit a cymbal for like opening the TARDIS door, like just having like some really fun things. And of course, the way that you would fire up the engine of the TARDIS would be to play the Doctor Who theme song, like wink and a nod, like every time. But yeah, I think that would be a fun, or at least having part of the console be musical.
So yeah, I mean, right. So the outside of the TARDIS, I'll just make it smaller. Because why is it getting bigger?
Bring back the pink TARDIS from the Happiness Patrol. It was good enough for the Candyman. It was good enough for me.
I wouldn't go that far. But I would go far enough to... Actually, would I no, I would not fix the chameleon circuit.
I would do it for like an episode, like Attack of the Cybermen style.
But not for like a series. Now, you see, how about a story set in Ireland? Because there's not really been a story set in Ireland.
I don't think there is.
Exactly. Ireland doesn't exist in Doctor Who. So let's make it. And let's throw the Naimon in there for good measure, because why not?
Just because Seasons of Fear did them really well doesn't mean they're a good idea.
They're a good idea. I don't care. Actually, the Naimon are like the most underrated monster in Doctor Who history.
Well, okay. Because of the audio, they're underrated. Because of the episode, they were just accurately rated.
Well, no. the story that they were in, right, was terrible. I admit that. Doesn't mean that they're terrible.
They had 70s like furry bell bottoms, like.
Well, they wouldn't in
80s
series.
Okay. They would be hip Naimon.
They would. It would be like the Minotaur
Would
from
they be
God
like
Complex.
hipster Naimons with like, with
I actually want to see that now.
like only the best artisan coffee. And like, oh my gosh. Just
Hipster Naimon. Best idea ever.
we've just created the best episode of Doctor Who.
I kind of want my.
They have beanies and
I kind of want all my social media tags to be Hipster Naimon now.
that's actually amazing.
That's an amazing title. Oh my god.
Just deletes channel, restarts.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Hipster Naimon here. I'm back in to play some more Fortnite. You know. You can just imagine that would be a Fortnite YouTuber.
You know what's funny is I would love to see a Doctors Play Fortnite series. Like,
Oh no.
it's the most overdone thing. I realize that, but you know, that would just be hilarious to me. You know, that's hipster Naimon though. I think could be brilliant. Just regardless of Fortnite.
Yeah.
The hipster Naimon. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. I think we should call it a day. It's like getting close to midnight.
We
over
have,
here.
yeah, I was thinking about that. It's been
I
almost
feel like
4
I'm
solid hours.
I could, to be honest, the last one was like around this long. We don't have time limits for these. We just talk until we can't.
Yeah. I mean, what I love about these though is like, honestly, if we had just gotten on a phone call, I don't think anything would have been any different than
Exactly,
like
that's
this. Just
the point. We're just
it,
the best kind of experience is an experience where you're just having fun, you know? And that's why I just thought, hey, might as well just have live streams or just talk about Doctor Who with people, you know?
I've legit gotten off of phone calls that lasted for like a couple hours with a Doctor Who fan, and my like my mom or dad will be like, "Oh, you know, what's their name?" And I'll be like, you know, in this case, I might be like, "Oh, Matt," and they're like, "What's their last name?" I'm like, "I don't even know," you know, like obviously it's in your Twitter, but like for other people, it's just like you're just entire or like where do they live? It's like, well, I don't know. The UK somewhere, you know, it's like you immediately just talk about Doctor Who and you don't stop until one of you has to go to bed, basically. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been, we have had a lot of fun moments. I think we've discovered some very fun ideas, and I definitely think we both need you need to be showrunner. I need to be head writer.
I need to fully develop my idea for the series though, because I still don't have a name for the companion, but I'll probably make it like a more gender neutral name
Just
because
have a Naimon as your companion. Have the hipster Naimon be your companion. Just grinding his own coffee beans in the TARDIS.
strumming the guitardist.
Yeah.
The guitardist.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
Oh, this is too beautiful.
Like wearing some obscure cologne, just
Yes.
just like the whole TARDIS stinks.
One episode is just titled Cologne Wars.
It's a Sontaran episode.
The Cologne Wars. This makes me smell like a French fry. You have declared war. I don't think we could do any better than this. So I think we should.
This is peak content.
And on peak content. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
Right.
you so much.
Yeah.
See you.
No, thank you for being on here.
Very welcome. This was a lot of fun.
Right. So for those watching, all like none of you, I mean, if people want to watch this, they can. They'll regret it, but you know, we're having fun. That's the point.
Yes, yes.
Well, people just having fun, and it's just like content, just to make sure my channel doesn't die. Like
with ideas like the hipster Naimon, it's
yeah,
your
I
channel's gonna be just remember me when you're famous. That's all I ask.
yeah, like I do plan on like doing stuff with my channel, but like I mean at this point I've got ideas of what I could do with my channel, but it's just like I need to bother with them.
To be fair, you contribute a lot to the
Universal.
universals.
Yeah, yeah, and I like doing that, and I'll continue to do that until I get tired of it, I guess.
Or get too famous managing the hipster Naimon.
Yeah. Anyway, see you all, you guys, like people watching, like next month,
Woohoo!
and for you, Alex, I guess we can talk again some other time.
Well, I look
This was
forward to
fun.
it.
This was
Yes,
fun.
it was.
Maybe I can have you as a guest some other month as well.
I would enjoy it if
Yeah. This will be.
if the hipster Naimon is still want little old me back, then yes, I would be very grateful.
I actually kind of do want to call myself Hipster Naimon now.
It's too good. If you don't, I will.
It actually really fits with my theme because I am a Naimon apologist.
Yes.
And I guess in some respects you could call me a hipster, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so much of a hipster that I don't even like coffee. Like, liking coffee is too mainstream. Like, I keep saying I'm gonna end this, but I might as well just. We've ended on that, right? Anyway,
Just
see you
end
all later.
mid-sentence.
So the other day,